The girl wasn't happy with the husband her mother picked for her, so she planned to run away from home. But the moment she climbed over the balcony, she landed perfectly in the arms of a stranger, not knowing that this man was actually her future husband, and he mistook her for a newly hired guard. "I'm trying to escape my arranged marriage. Could you please carry me to the gate?" Rumor has it that the Duke's little princess is breathtakingly beautiful, the dream girl of countless shut-in fanboys, and after her coming-of-age ceremony, she became the hottest topic in the imperial social circle. While her long-term absence from public view sparked even more speculation, some saying she was abused by her parents and survived only on dew each day, others claiming she had a fatal illness that made her skin rot under sunlight, and some insisting she was cursed by a witch and would dissolve into sea foam if she ever left the Duke's estate. But no matter how people guessed, no one imagined that the only reason this pure and flawless Duke's lady never left home was simply because she had been completely spoiled. As the sole daughter of the Wentworth family, Vivi had been adored since birth, eating strawberries only from the tip, leaving the rest for the dog and her dad, needing to be carried whenever she walked more than 1 meter. And under such pampering she eventually grew into a near-useless girl, just slightly better than a college student. Even her mother couldn't help complaining, "Maybe that's why your father ran off with your brother." The mother cried pitifully while sneaking glances at her daughter, only to find Vivi accidentally dozing off, hugging a pillow and blowing a snot bubble. The mother poked her silly daughter in frustration. "People outside are saying I've locked you up, and they even formed a princess guard to rescue you." Thinking about it made her suddenly sad. If only she could protect her daughter for a lifetime, she wouldn't be in such a rush. Ever since her husband left, she had been running the entire family business alone. "If I die someday, how will you live by yourself?" Seeing tears gather in Vivi's eyes, the guilty mother quickly cut to the point. "So, you'll listen to whatever mom says, right?" The long-prepared maids rushed in at once. "Then please pack your things, we're leaving." Vivi was instantly dumbfounded, and she pitifully tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mom, where exactly are you sending me?" Her mother looked at her awkwardly. "Didn't I tell you just now? I found you a man you can entrust your whole life to. He's Victor, the leader of the Lion Corps." The Lion Corps was a ghost-like battalion unrecognized by the royal family, made up of war orphans and exiles. And from nobles to commoners, anyone who heard their name would tremble in fear, especially their leader Victor, who was rumored to have made a deal with a demon in exchange for an indestructible body. And now the king lay critically ill, while the crown prince and the second prince, backed by the queen, were both desperate to expand their power, making everyone watch closely to see which side the Duke would take. And since Vivi was the Duke family's only little princess, sending her away was the only way to keep her from becoming a political sacrifice. Without the queen's help back then, the Duke wouldn't even have his current position. So now all her mother could do was hope that once Vivi left, the queen would find someone else suitable for a political marriage. Meanwhile, Vivi was curled up under her blanket, trembling, because she'd overheard a rumor from the butler. Victor was 2.5 meters tall, had thighs as wide as barrels, and could crush 2 college students with one hand. Just as she was panicking, she heard someone call out, Miss, over here." Vivi slowly shuffled toward the door, only for a maid to hand her a book and a rope. "The members of the Lion Corps are already here to pick you up. If you want to run, this is your last chance. This is our final gift. No matter what you choose, we'll support you." Vivi stared at the rope in her hands, completely confused. How do you even use this? Is it like this? After thinking for 2.5 minutes, she concluded it definitely wasn't. So she opened the book titled 100 Ways for Noble Ladies to Run Away from Home. Are you troubled by your parents' stubborn decisions? Are you anxious about your current situation? Vivi nodded wildly. Yes, that's me. The book compiled real stories from 100 runaway noble girls, offering a full escape plan. Escaping through the main gate is too eye-catching. A rope is undoubtedly your best option. So the rope was for escaping from the balcony. Vivi snapped the book shut, tossed the rope over the balcony railing, and upholding her noble belief of "we'll deal with tomorrow," the Duke's young lady began her grand adventure. But in the very next second her adventure came to an end, because the rope wasn't long enough, leaving her dangling mid-air, while a man below stared up at her awkwardly. Then the rope snapped, and Vivi landed perfectly in the man's arms. She touched his firm pectorals. Is he a new guard hired by the family? A brilliant idea popped into her mind. "Could you please carry me to the gate?" I'm trying to run away, but walking on my own is way too tiring." After saying that, she fainted dramatically in his arms, not realizing that this man was actually her future husband, who'd come to pick her up. Meanwhile, as the Lion Corps entered the city, the townspeople scattered in terror. One member couldn't help complaining, "If the boss had accepted the emperor's reward back then, our reputation wouldn't be this bad. You know, he hates everything about noble behavior. No point whining now." Which only made them more curious. Someone who despised nobles so much, and yet traveled across mountains and left the main force ahead of time, just to personally welcome a duke's young lady. Doesn't that seem suspicious to you guys? Everyone nodded in agreement. The boss isn't falling in love, right? Just as they were speculating, all their gazes subconsciously turned in the same direction, where their 20-year single boss was walking out, carrying a duke's young lady in his arms, and the entire squad broke into anti-like grins. Yep, the boss is totally in love. Victor sensed their stares, and a giant question mark practically popped above his head. Right then, the butler and maids rushed over. "Miss, what are you doing? How can you be so close to a man you've never met?" Vivi slowly opened her eyes, stared blankly at the man holding her. "Who are you?" Victor gently set her down. "Victor of the Lion Corps, here by the Duke's request to provide protection for the young lady." But Vivi's brain was still stuck on food. What? Citrus Corps? Cheese Corps? Then she suddenly remembered, it was Lion Corps, the terrifying group rumored to crush college students with bare hands. At that moment, her mother hurried over, scooping Vivi straight into her arms. "Thank goodness you're safe," I thought. But the warmth lasted only 2 seconds before her mom grabbed her cheeks in fury. "So your wings have grown hard, huh? You dare run away from home now?" The entire Lion Corps stood there utterly confused. Then the Duke instructed the maids to take the young lady to change. She had something important to tell Victor. So the two of them walked to the Duke Estate's back garden. "I heard the Crown Prince met with you. He wants to incorporate the Lion Corps into the official army. Congratulations. Being part of the formal military comes with full benefits, and you'd receive a generous yearly military budget as well." Before she could finish, Victor cut her off. "I refused. The Lion Corps follows its own justice. We will never become tools of the royal family. As for funding, thanks to the land you granted us, we can still sustain ourselves. I will repay that debt someday." The Duke smiled with satisfaction. "I knew I wasn't wrong about you. What I'm about to say must remain secret, or disaster will fall on both of us. Within 2 years, the duchy will join hands with the Queen to stage a coup and help the second prince ascend the throne." Victor's face instantly darkened. "That's treason. I know that's why, no matter the outcome, I need you to protect Vivi." After finishing their conversation, the Duke decided to send her daughter away immediately, because staying even a moment longer could bring unexpected danger. A moment later, outside the gates of the Duke's estate, the Duchess slowly walked toward her daughter. "My dear Vivi, the conditions there won't be as good as here. You must take good care of yourself." Vivi looked up at her mother pitifully. Can I not go?" But the Duchess hardened her heart. "Just this once, listen to me. Leaving only a soft travel safely." She turned away without looking back. Vivi stood there for a long time before quietly nodding, and just like that she began the first journey of her life outside the mansion. The Duchess and her people stood at the gate, watching the carriage disappear with reluctant eyes. Not until it was completely gone did the Duchess speak. "From the day Vivi was born until now, we've never been apart this long. Do you think she'll resent me?" The head maid comforted her. "Please don't worry. For Miss Vivi, this will surely be an unforgettable trip." And as a Duke's young lady leaving home for the first time, everything around her filled her with curiosity. But the long journey soon put Vivi into a deep sleep, until the carriage entered a steep mountain path and a sharp turn threw her right off the bed. Before she could even process what was happening, the carriage crashed into a tree, sending her flying 10 meters. With no choice left, she ordered the coachman to stop. And as the Empire's #1 beauty, the moment she stepped down, she caught the attention of every Lion Corps soldier. "Is that the legendary Duke's young lady? She's so elegant and her outfit is gorgeous. But how did she manage to get tossed around like that in a carriage?" Just then Victor approached. "Why did we stop? The resting point is still far ahead." The coachman hurried to explain. The young lady said she couldn't handle the ride." On the other side, Vivi stood poking her fingers together like a child who'd done something wrong, then looked up at Victor's gloomy face and instantly hid behind the coachman in fright. Victor remained expressionless. Next time you stop, report beforehand. With that, he turned and left, leaving Vivi trembling on the spot. One of the subordinates rushed after him. Captain, you're such a hopeless straight man. Can't you be a little gentler with a girl? Didn't you take a liking to that young lady? Careful or she'll end up hating you. Before he could finish, Victor cut him off. I didn't. I'm not. Don't talk nonsense. That I'm only looking after her for 2 years because the Duke asked me to. The Duke had warned him earlier that his youngest daughter had been spoiled since birth, and once she arrived at the Lion Corps, they didn't need to be polite, just train her however needed. Victor hadn't taken it seriously then. A Duke's daughter is a Duke's daughter. How spoiled could she be? My daughter needs to be carried when she walks, fed when she eats, and even bathed by attendants. She won't wear the same outfit twice and she wastes food constantly. Victor's face darkened instantly. Right then and there, he vowed to correct every one of her bad habits. Still, Captain, you didn't have to be so harsh with her. Victor blinked in confusion and stayed silent for a long moment, then finally asked, was I? His subordinate merely rolled his eyes out of his skull. How can someone have zero self-awareness about their own face? But to the Lion Corps, the captain's attitude was the core attitude. If the captain kept his distance, naturally no one else would approach her either. For someone newly brought into the group, this was nothing short of torment. They soon arrived at the resting spot, and after a full day of travel, everyone could finally relax. Except for one person, the Lion Corps only mage and the one in charge of meals, Fred, who was currently under unprecedented pressure. Because Vivi was standing beside him, staring at him without saying a word. Why, WB, are you staring at me? Are you trying to pick a fight? He looked the Duke's young lady up and down, her perfect looks and noble aura making his hair stand on end. That he already stayed as far from her as possible, so why was he still being targeted? Then he suddenly froze. Wait, is she disgusted by me? In an instant he imagined Vivi looking at him arrogantly. Your existence pollutes the very air. Please disappear from this world. Cold sweat poured down his back. If that's the case, then fine. I'll just disappear together with this world. And he actually started preparing a spell, when a husky suddenly jumped in front of him. He stared at Vivi, confused. Did we start a fight? Vivi shook her head so fast it looked like a rattle drum. What was wrong with him? She had no idea. She was simply hungry. Moments later, a bowl of hot food was placed before her. Vivi stared at the unfamiliar dish, not daring to touch it at first. But after watching the husky gulp it down in one go, she finally picked up the spoon and carefully tasted a bite. But the next second, her face darkened and she collapsed onto the ground with a thud. Meanwhile, Victor was inside his tent studying strategy, when a subordinate burst in, panicked. Kitten, bad news. The Duke's young lady, she passed out. Victor rushed over and found Vivi lying on the ground, pale and trembling uncontrollably. She had been fine just moments ago. What happened? Was she poisoned? Victor lifted her up. No fever, no rapid breathing. Just what was going on? Could it be some new kind of poison that kills without symptoms? Suddenly, Vivi grabbed his collar, using what seemed like the last of her strength, managing only one word, good. Gee, good what? Victor was completely confused. Then her next words shocked him for the next 800 years. She whispered painfully, good, awful. And her voice echoed across the mountains, awful, awful full. Fred, furious, charged forward to hit someone. Don't stop me. Let me indie her. A red-haired woman stepped up. What do we do? Should the boss make a separate meal for her? But Victor refused immediately. Tomorrow I'm taking her hunting. If she won't eat what others cook, then she'll learn to hunt for herself. Morning sunlight spilled over the forest, and Vivi looked heroic on horseback, drawing her bow at a boar and shooting it clean through in one strike. Having mastered the art of hunting. Or so the entire scene existed only in Victor's imagination, while Vivi's own imagination was just her trembling at the idea of a boar. So scary. The next morning they were ready to set out. Vivi looked at Victor nervously, but the man said nothing, simply pulled her up onto the horse. Soon they arrived at a steep mountain range. They had to cross it to reach the hunting grounds. They both stared quietly at the uneven, almost vertical slope ahead. We're sliding down this. Can we even survive that? Vivi shook her head so hard it looked like it might fall off. But before she could protest, Victor's large hands had already lifted her, and he slung her over his shoulder, charging down the slope at 80 miles an hour. Reaching the bottom in no time, Victor could feel her trembling on his shoulder. Clearly the girl was terrified. Can't handle even this much. Well, she was raised like a pampered princess. But the moment Victor turned around, he met Vivi's sparkling, excited eyes. That was fun. Let's do it again. Victor was speechless, but he had been entrusted by the Duke after all, so he ended up sprinting back and forth with her in his arms more than 10 times. And it was the first time he'd ever seen Vivi smile so happily. Only then did the man finally understand why the Duke would rather fight alone than keep her at home. This girl was utterly spoiled, completely defenseless against the world. Since the Duke entrusted her to him, he had the responsibility to pave a path for her future. And at the very least, teach her some basic survival skills over these 2 years. So when a venomous snake tried to ambush Vivi, Victor didn't hesitate. With a single strike he cut it clean in half, then pretended nothing had happened and quietly followed behind her. Soon they reached an area filled with wild beasts. Victor swung his blade and a small deer fell at his feet, but it was far too small to feed the entire corps. And he didn't realize that a huge black bear was standing behind Vivi, glaring fiercely. Without even turning around, Victor dispatched the bear with one effortless strike. Vivi, meanwhile, sat on a tree branch, quietly watching everything unfold. She watched Victor process the animal, clean, smooth movements, and pack the meat within seconds, then walk away. Vivi blinked in confusion. He just left. Is he forgetting something? 2.5 silent minutes passed before Victor came rushing back, finally lifting Vivi down, tears still clinging to the corners of her eyes. Damn, almost forgot her. He cleared his throat awkwardly. You saw the demonstration clearly, right? Now it's your turn. Victor then noticed something. This Duke's young lady barely talked. Even after being left behind in a tree, she didn't complain at all. Did she have some kind of psychological issue? Ahead of them stood a small herd of deer. So Vivi decided to give it a try. But even using all her strength, the bowstring didn't budge an inch. Looks like even the lady's bow wasn't suitable for her. Next time he'd need to bring a children's model. So Victor chose to teach her himself. Don't use brute force to pull the bow or you'll hurt yourself. Feet shoulder width apart, pull the string to the height of your mouth. Aim and release. With that, he shot a deer straight through the head. Vivi stood frozen, utterly stunned. Now it's your turn. Vivi hurriedly took the bow and began practicing over and over again. But even though she tried her best, the results were still disappointing. The bowstring wasn't fully drawn, her hands were shaky, and even her breathing fell out of rhythm. Although these were all common problems for beginners, Victor could faintly sense that she was anxious. But what exactly was she anxious about? Watching Vivi exhausted yet still forcing herself to pull the bow, the man stepped forward and stopped her. Enough. Practicing like this is pointless. What exactly are you so restless about? Victor looked closely at the girl's face. Vivi panted heavily, her big eyes blinking as she stared at him. Restless? Can you eat that? I don't know what you mean by being restless, but I really do want to get results quickly. Because Victor, you're amazing. Everyone in the Lion Corps is. Whether it's your vision, courage, ability, or experience, each of those must have been forged through decades of training, completely different from someone like me. So I can't help but think, if I could be as strong as all of you, maybe I wouldn't be a burden to my mother. Victor was clearly shocked by her. He strode toward Vivi, looking at the girl who was desperately holding back her tears. The man grabbed her hand tightly and leaned close to her ear, and spoke slowly. What the hell? You can actually talk normally? It was the first time he had heard her say so many words. He couldn't react at all, since before this she always spoke one word at a time. Then he finally sensed Vivi's grievance. Yet as a rough man he had no idea how to comfort someone. What was he supposed to do? After thinking for a long moment he finally said, the first time I held a blade I was only 6. And what I faced wasn't a beast nor a demon but a human being. Back then famine struck year after year and some people driven mad by hunger would target children. Over the years I've killed many vicious criminals, but that incident is still the one I can't forget. Most members of the Lion Corps are the same, having lived through similarly tragic experiences. Hardship is what made them strong. But if given a choice, who would willingly live a life of wandering and suffering? Victor gently stroked the girl's forehead. Growing up in wealth and comfort is not your fault. You don't need to feel guilty for it, and it's not power that lets you protect the people you care about. It's having someone you want to protect that makes you become stronger. Vivi, believe me, that day won't be far away. Hearing his words, Vivi was greatly encouraged. So she tugged on Victor's sleeve. Then, is there anything I can do even as I am now? Victor was completely disarmed by how cute she looked. But remembering that a man should act composed, he pretended to stay calm, then pick some fruit and head back. So he lifted Vivi high so she could reach the fruit, collected the mushrooms in the forest, and finally picked the sand mice on the ground. In just one afternoon, Vivi had gathered an impressive harvest. Seeing the girl's bright smile, Victor felt warmth rise in his chest. It wasn't until dusk that they returned to the camp, and they even used the ingredients to make a delicious pizza. Everyone praised Vivi for being so capable, but the mage Fred was an exception. Sand mice in this season are bitter and astringent. Cooking them this way ruins perfectly good meat. Upon hearing this, the girl lowered her head in guilt, while Fred, having achieved his petty scheme, let a smug smile creep across his lips. But the next second, Vivi suddenly leaned in, blinking her big watery eyes at him. Was it really that bad? Really that bad? Fred's guilt was written all over his face. Looking into the girl's clear and rather silly eyes, he found himself completely unable to resist. Well, it's not totally hopeless, I guess. This shocked everyone nearby. Fred, the harsh-tongued mage, actually complimenting someone's cooking. In an instant, Vivi revived to full health, while Fred turned red in embarrassment. Don't come any closer. Victor leaned against a tree, watching the scene with a faint smile. He hadn't expected the pampered young lady to fit into the lion squad so quickly. The next morning came quickly, and Victor was woken by the commotion outside the tent. After studying strategy all night, he was already in a foul mood. Seeing the bustling crowd outside, Victor wondered what was going on. Them? Oh, they just wanted to make something tasty for Lady Vivi. But somehow it turned into a competition. Everyone wants the Duchess's approval. And whatever food they make gets snatched up so nothing goes to waste. However, that warm and lively scene stirred up Victor's unpleasant memories. He too had once been unrecognized by the team. Some thought he was pretending and some refused to be his partner. Only after countless battles fought side by side did he finally earn their acceptance, eventually becoming one with the Lion Squad. It had taken him 3 whole years to fit in, yet the girl became the squad's favorite in just one day. Watching their cheerful interactions, a little heartbroken boy quietly shattered inside. And up above the crowd, Vivi, being lifted high, also noticed that lonely silhouette. She struggled to jump down, then quickly ran over to Victor, gently tugging on his sleeve, and handed over the food in her hands. Let's eat together. In that instant, Vivi seemed to shine, lighting up the lonely boy inside him. He took the food, feeling a wave of warmth in his heart. But when he looked at the lunchbox, he sensed something was off. The special stir-fried meat was a huge bowl of vegetables. Where had the meat gone? Vivi, guilty as ever, looked guilty indeed, and the next second Victor pulled her away, bringing her to a quiet spot and handing her the bowl. Come on, eat all these vegetables while I'm watching. No picky eating. Meanwhile, the onlookers whispered, Look, boss and the Duke's lady are bickering. Told you something was going on between them. Fred muttered under his breath, how many romance novels do you guys read a day? Why are you all so accurate? While everyone was enjoying the lively atmosphere, the bearded warrior suddenly had a bad feeling. Although the escorting members had accepted the Duke's lady, the ones back at camp might not. The group instantly realized. Most people were manageable, but that woman, she definitely wouldn't let it go easily. Soon the main troop set out again and Vivi fell asleep in the carriage. When they passed a rugged mountain path, the girl bounced off the seat like a rubber ball. But Vivi was already used to it. Before she could even say, ouch, she was already blowing a snot bubble. Since he wasn't familiar with the terrain, Victor ordered everyone to stay alert. And as expected, the unexpected happened right away. A sudden noise came from behind, and a massive boulder rolled down from the mountaintop, heading straight for the carriage Vivi was in. Vivi was startled awake by the noise outside, and before her sleepy eyes could fully open, someone grabbed her by the back of the neck and yanked her out of the carriage. The next moment, the carriage was smashed to pieces by falling rocks. Debris flew straight toward them. Victor hurriedly tore off his cloak and used his own body to shield her from the stones. When the accompanying members arrived, Victor handed Vivi to the red-haired woman for protection and went after the assassin. The redhead slung Vivi over her shoulder, thinking the little princess must be terrified and probably crying inside the cloak. But when another ambusher charged at them, Vivi simply swung her suitcase and coolly smashed him, knocking the bandit out in just a few hits, then calmly let out a yawn. The redhead was utterly stunned. Damn, she adapted way too fast. On the other side, Victor finished off several assassins and set his sights on the mountaintop. With a few quick strides he leapt upward, and with one swift strike took down the assassin leader. Just as they were about to take someone alive for questioning, they found all of them had taken their own lives. They were trained death soldiers. The situation below was likely the same, but what they didn't expect was that one assassin had been knocked unconscious by Vivi. Up on the mountain, the two exchanged a look and a smile. Seemed the Duke's lady was more interesting than they thought. Moments later, the assassin was awakened by a splash of cold water, and the first thing he saw was Victor's icy face. I don't care who ordered you. You may return and report back, but at the same time I want you to deliver a message. We do not take part in royal power struggles, nor do we intend to be anyone's pawns. But if anyone dares harm my companions, the Lion Squad will always be ready for battle. Meanwhile, in the royal palace, the crown prince burst into crazed laughter upon hearing the message. He had only wanted to test the Lion Squad, yet didn't expect them to be this stubborn. Interesting, seems he'll need some forceful methods to make them submit. After the long journey, the Lion Squad finally returned to the camp gates. Victor reassured Vivi not to be nervous. Just hold on a little longer, we're almost there. But the girl in his arms wasn't nervous at all. She was practically thrilled. The Lion Squad members came out to welcome them. Victor was just about to introduce the girl beside him when he realized Vivi had already disappeared. The newly arrived little princess was curious about everything around her. Curious about the ancient buildings. Curious about the grazing sheep. And she even wanted to closely examine a dog's poop. Suddenly a large hand pulled her back. Don't run around, don't tell me you've never even seen a dog. Vivi blinked innocently. Of course not. Is that a problem? As Victor's childhood friend, Kadra was very displeased with the new duke's daughter. Why was she dressed like that? Was this some new fashion trend from the capital? Oh, that, on the way back something happened and she ended up being targeted. And well, she's kind of too eye-catching. Kadra looked utterly confused. She still didn't understand what eye-catching meant, but when the girl took off her hat, her jet-black hair and pearl-like fair skin left the entire Lion Squad stunned. I apologize for disturbing you on such a day. Yvette sends her greetings. The Lion Squad members were wide-eyed. A bunch of wild boars like them had never seen this level of elegance. They huddled together and discussed for quite a while, and finally pushed one representative forward. We've been here for years. If you ever need anything, just ask. Vivi replied gracefully, thank you for your help. I'll be in your care. Her refined manners left yellow hair and beard bro completely dumbfounded. She definitely wasn't like this on the way back. While Vivi was quietly being pretty, Victor walked over and bonked her on the head. The Lion Squad are all our own people. No need to act formal in front of them. Also, let me introduce you. This is Kadra, head of logistics. She'll be looking after you from now on. To welcome the returning squad, the head chef specially prepared a grand dinner. Vivi drooled instantly, and even the bearded man shed tears. After eating dark cuisine all the way, they finally had real food again. As a pampered duchess, Vivi had never even used a fork before. She poked the plate a few times with a cool expression and didn't manage to get a single bite. At that moment, Chef Marlin appeared behind her. Since it's your first day, little sister, I made a special dish just for you. The moment everyone heard that, their faces went completely dark. Here it comes, the infamous newcomer treatment from the big sister. Back then, they were tortured miserably by it. Would even Vivi fail to escape this fate? The instant the lid was lifted, Vivi felt her scalp go numb. A terrifying tentacle squid lay inside, its tendrils still wriggling wildly. This is my favorite creation of the year. Go on, have a taste. Vivi shook her head over and over, resisting from head to toe. Victor shot a look and Blondie instantly understood, quietly moving behind the girl. While she wasn't paying attention, he gave her a scare, and the next second the food was shoved into her mouth. Vivi, who had been resisting at first, slowly chewed and realized it was unbelievably delicious. Marlin looked at her with a big smile. Good, isn't it? Delicious. This is the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. The Lion Squad burst into cheers. Sister Marlin's special dishes always looked terrifying, but the taste had never disappointed. After the dinner party, Victor began reorganizing the team's daily duties. Those whose names were called would follow the new schedule. The rest would stay as they were. Lin Jiqing and Rosanna were assigned to daily reconnaissance. Arthur and Nia were in charge of guarding the eastern side of the base. Also, since some people had an enormous appetite, Chef Marlin's workload had become overwhelming, so they needed a little helper to handle ingredients. Yvette, this task will be yours. Vivi was completely confused. The redhead leaned toward Victor and whispered, "She's a noble lady. Is it really okay to make her do such rough work?" Victor was resolute. The Lion Squad never keeps freeloaders. Besides, strength isn't just about combat. Endurance, stamina, and even communication skills. Knowing how to handle relationships is part of one's ability, and a path the Duchess must experience. Vivi was instantly fired up. "Then leave this difficult mission to me." So the next morning, the big sister assigned Vivi to bring vegetables to the kitchen. Humming a little tune, she walked down the path with light, quick steps. Suddenly, a figure blocked her way. Well, Duchess. Still remember who I am? Remember Godzilla?" "Yeah, that's me, Cadella." Cadella forced herself to stay calm, absolutely not allowing herself to lose ground. Since Vivi seemed to love working so much, she might as well give her the dirtiest, hardest job. "Put the ingredients down. I'm assigning you a new task. All logistics in the Lion Squad are under my control, so whatever I tell you to do, you do. And your next job is cleaning the sheep pen." But Vivi just froze for a second, then cheerfully hummed a tune and trotted off to clean the sheep pen. Cadella was dumbfounded. What is wrong with this woman? A moment later, Vivi picked up a bucket and headed to work. Her elegance and stunning beauty making everyone passing by greet her warmly. Up close, she looked even prettier. No wonder the boss favored her. Cadella, who followed behind, was practically exploding with anger. "Laugh while you can, Yvette. Once my plan starts, you won't be smiling for long." It turned out Cadella had devised a territory defense plan just to force Vivi out of the Lion Squad. Step 1. Lure the Duchess into doing something she's terrible at. Step 2. Sabotage her during the task and frame her, making the captain furious. And the final step, kick her out of the Lion Squad. Thinking of this, Cadella couldn't help feeling smug. What a perfect plan. Seeing how clumsy Vivi was, maybe she wouldn't even need to make a move herself. But the moment Cadella looked away, Vivi had already knocked over an entire shelf. Bottles and jars scattered all over the floor. She knew the Duchess would be useless, but she didn't expect this level of useless. Cadella tried to calm herself. What on earth happened? She had been inside for less than a minute. How did she turn the sheep pen into disaster territory? Well, find out. At least she should now realize how hopeless she was. But after thinking for a moment, Vivi quickly hid the broken pieces while no one was around. What is she doing? "Hey! Don't pretend nothing happened." Cadella shouted before she could stop herself, almost getting caught by Vivi inside. She originally thought Vivi was a delicate greenhouse flower, but clearly the girl had a thick skin. She couldn't let this continue. At this rate, before they kicked her out, the Lion Squad would go bankrupt. Fixing her messes. As Vivi cleaned up in front, Cadella followed behind, wiping up the aftermath. Vivi felt something strange, like someone was secretly trailing her. Was it just her imagination? Once Vivi left, Cadella finally crawled out of the haystack. Ugh, it stinks to death. Meanwhile, the red-haired woman was working in the fields. Seeing Yvette, she waved from afar. "So, how's Vivi doing with her tasks?" Vivi didn't speak, she just gave a confident thumbs up. The red-haired woman laughed. "Didn't expect our Vivi to be this capable. Looks like I underestimated you. But didn't the boss assign you to help the head chef? Why are you out here herding sheep?" "Someone told me to. Something like Tessera, maybe Cadella?" Yellow hair gave a knowing grin. "Yeah, I think I get what's going on." Cadella was rolling on the ground in frustration. "I'm exhausted. I swear this is 10,000 times harder than doing it myself. What am I even doing with my life?" She lay on the grass, staring quietly at the sky. Even the passing clouds turned into images of Victor and Vivi being lovey-dovey. Just as she was drifting off, a sheep but suddenly rammed into her face. "What the hell?" She opened her eyes and saw Vivi staring at her, arms wrapped around a horribly smelly sheep. Cadella jumped back 2.5 meters. What do you want?" "Arthur said you were definitely suffering again, so I came to check on you. Looks like you were in the fields just now." Arthur then casually revealed that Cadella liked Victor. The red-haired woman was stunned. "Cadella likes the captain. Why are you shocked? Anyone with eyes could have seen that." The red-haired woman suddenly understood everything. No wonder Cadella had always been secretly watching the captain. She thought it was like herself, trying to figure out why Victor was so strong. Cadella probably felt the captain was paying too much attention to you, so she grew resentful. No one told you to do those heavy chores. She just wanted to bully you. Anyway, be careful. It's best not to provoke her. After Yellow Hair left, Vivi kept thinking, why doesn't Cadella like me? Even while herding sheep, she was absent-minded. her thoughts drifting from trivial matters to the mysteries of the universe. So when she saw Cadella walking out of the sheep pen, her first instinct was to walk over and ask directly. Cadella felt her soul leaving her body. "So you just came to ask me outright?" Vivi nodded seriously. "Is that a problem?" Cadella almost spat blood. "This woman is terrifying. So why did you do that to me?" Cadella was silent for a long moment. "You want to know why? Of course it's because I hate you. I've loved that man for over 10 years and suddenly he brings back another woman, caring for her, acting close to her. What do you expect me to feel? Get along with you? Impossible. Absolutely impossible." Memories flashed through her mind. Cadella still remembered the day she first met Victor. From that moment on, she swore she would marry him someday. "I'm the one who's known him the longest. So why did you have to show up out of nowhere?" Vivi was still completely confused. "Did I do something wrong?" "Oh, plenty. First, riding on the same horse. Totally unacceptable. But fine, since the carriage was broken, I'll forgive that one. Second, you couldn't get off the horse by yourself. You definitely touched his hand. You did, didn't you? And the worst part, you even let him lift you with one arm. Those are things you only do with someone you like. You're so shameless, so frivolous." Vivi said nothing, only hugged the little lamb in her arms tighter. Seeing her so pitiful, even Cadella began to soften a little. "Look, if I misunderstood, I can apologize. But if you don't like the captain, then you shouldn't." "But I do like him." Cadella's pupils dilated instantly. Vivi's cheeks turned pink as she said it casually, yet it struck Cadella like lightning. "I like Victor." Cadella finally snapped. "Why, you woman. Are you declaring war on me?" "I also like Francis and Darwin, Liz and Arthur. They cover for me when I mess up. Fred and Hart always share food with me, and Miss Marlene's cooking is delicious. And Xenia and Rosanna. I like everyone here. I like you too, Cadella. Is that not allowed?" Cadella's face flushed red. Only then did she realize Vivi's like wasn't at all what she had imagined. Before Cadella could say anything heartfelt, the red-haired woman suddenly yelled from behind, "Vivi! Come back. Your sheep ran off again, they're eating the crops." Just before leaving, Vivi turned back. "Did you have something you wanted to say?" Cadella's face switched instantly. "Nothing. Get lost, you big idiot." Only after Vivi walked far away did Cadella finally exhale in relief. Talking to her is more exhausting than cleaning the entire sheep pen. She had just planned to rest when yellow hair suddenly showed up. "No need to explain. I already know you've made some new territory defense plan, right? But give it up. It won't work. Vivi is spoiled and clueless about hardship. But even on that brutal trip back, I never saw her cry once. Clumsy as she is, she's genuinely trying her best to adapt to this unfamiliar place. Bullying a kid like that, you'll get divine punishment." Of course Cadella knew that, but the moment Victor was involved, she'd lose all reason. Yellowhair's eyes softened. "Since you know you were wrong, go apologize to her. And don't think I didn't notice those broken jars. That was you framing her, wasn't it? She's a duke's daughter. Prettier than you, better figure than you, even her personality is softer. Honestly, it's devastating for you. How could the captain ever like you when she—" Before he could finish, Cadella knocked him out with one punch. Yellowhair spun 360 degrees and flew into the sky. That move left Vivi completely stunned. She shouted excitedly, "Sis, come look. I think I just saw God." On the training field, a member came running over, gloating. "Hurry, hurry, Cadella and Arthur are fighting again." Everyone instantly looked at Victor. With one single dismissed, the crowd rushed off to watch the drama. After a long day, Vivi collapsed onto the grass and fell asleep on the spot. Victor draped his coat over her and quietly walked away. That night, Cadella lay in bed, remembering Vivi's words, "I like Victor and Francis and Darwin." Wait, who on earth is Darwin? And why is he third on the list? Because Vivi and Cadella violated regulations, Victor issued punishment. Cadella had altered the duty roster without permission. Her monthly pay would be deducted and she'd clean the sheep pen for a month. And due to certain people abandoning their posts, several members accidentally ate unprocessed ingredients. 5 have diarrhea so far. So when Ivat and Victor looked up, they saw Vivi sound asleep, blowing a snot bubble. "Don't pretend to be asleep." Victor knocked her gently on the head. "Since it's your first offense, I'll let it slide. But if you abandon your post again, you know exactly what happens." That stern look from Victor scared Vivi stiff. "Wah, so scary. The bandit boss is gonna finish me off." Meanwhile, The eldest sister had just brought a basin of mangosteens when she saw Vivi sitting there trembling. The sight made Marlene laugh. Looks like she'd been completely dominated. After dinner, the members still had to continue their training. Before leaving, Nia reminded Vivi, "If you need any help, just call us. We're training on the open field right outside. Just shout from your room and we'll hear you." Vivi nodded and tip-tapped her way back to her room to take a bath. With a loud bang, she pushed open the door. The room was clean and tidy, but compared to the Duke's mansion, it was tiny. Even the bath barrel was empty, not a single drop of water inside. She remembered what Xenia said, "If you need help, just call us anytime." So Vivi pushed open the window, looking out at the Lion Squad members training hard. It was already late, yet everyone was still putting in full effort without the slightest slack. Someone finally noticed her. Ivet called out, "Do you need any help?" Vivi shook her head. Believing in her noble virtue of doing her own tasks herself, she decided to fetch water for her bath. But when she reached the well, she realized drawing water was far harder than she imagined. Even so, Vivi didn't give up. She used every bit of strength she had to fill one barrel. Then she dragged it back step by step, making several exhausting trips back and forth. Vivi crouched down, panting heavily from exhaustion. A sharp pain shot through her hand. Only then did she realize her palm had been rubbed raw by the bucket, bleeding. She brought her hand to her mouth and blew softly on it, trying to ease the stinging sensation. Suddenly, a voice called from behind her. "Ivet, what are you doing here?" Vivi turned around and saw Victor right in front of her. "Getting water," she stammered, her eyes glued to his solid chest. "Why is his big muscle all wet?" "There's a river over there. After training, we usually wash up in it." "We can take a bath in the river?" Vivi's eyes sparkled. She immediately turned to run toward the river. But Victor grabbed her by the arm and pulled her back. "You can't. It's all men over there. That if you want a bath, go back to your room." As he pulled her, a jolt of pain shot through her injured hand. Only then did Victor notice the wounds covering her soft, pale palms. Seeing his little wife to be hurt, his expression darkened instantly. "Explain. What happened?" His stern tones scared Vivi so much that tears welled up at the corners of her eyes. Stepping back, she lost her footing and fell flat on her face. The overturned bucket dumped all the water onto her. Vivi let out a relieved sigh. "Good thing I didn't get hurt." "No, it is not good." Victor growled, water bucket still sitting on top of his head. A moment later, back in the room, Victor gently applied medicine to her hands. Vivi held back the pain and explained, "I just wanted to take a bath, but the bucket was so heavy that I scraped my hands. Please don't be mad." Victor looked up, completely confused. "Mad? Was I mad?" Vivi nodded firmly. "You were fierce." "I don't understand. Why didn't you ask someone for help? You've never done these things yourself at home, right?" "Of course not. That I and the Duke's manor. There's always water ready. That if I'm hungry, someone makes me a snack. That if I'm sleepy, someone prepares my bed." The things she once thought were natural. Only after doing them herself did she realize how exhausting they truly were. After a long silence, Vivi raised her head and forced a smile. "Does this count as progress?" Even with her palms covered in wounds, she was still worried about whether she had improved. Victor sighed and flicked her forehead with a sharp snap. "Hurting yourself for no reason, does that look like progress to you? If an enemy attacks tomorrow, can these hands even hold a sword? A warrior must be strong, but must also know how to avoid unnecessary injuries." As he spoke, Victor picked up the water bucket. "I'll only ask you to do what you're capable of. Anything beyond that, come to me. And about tomorrow's training, I won't go easy on you just because you're injured." Vivi stared at him, speechless. But then she remembered what Big Sister had said. "Don't be fooled by the captain's donkey face. He actually takes good care of people." So she thought for a moment. Miss Marlin just gave me a basket of mangosteen, so peel them for me." "Didn't I just say you should handle your own?" Victor was about to snap, when Vivi suddenly lifted her hands right up to his face. "My hands are injured. That I cannot peel mangosteen." Victor froze. So after all this, she'd just been waiting to trap him like this? And so, after fetching the water, Victor sat there peeling mangosteen while doubting his life choices. What am I even doing? Meanwhile, Vivi was happily bathing and eating mangosteen at the same time, apparently having found the perfect way to deal with Victor. Soon, the Lion Squad began their official training. As always, Captain Victor was strict to the bone. "Xenia, using levitation again. Slack off and I'll add 2 more hours." Blondie walked over. "Is Xenia last again today?" "You wish. The last place is right there." Everyone turned and saw Vivi running in the very back, clutching her dress. Arthur froze. Does she not have a single outfit suited for running? I would lend her mine, but my combat gear is covered in armor. She wouldn't even be able to move. Even so, the captain didn't exempt her from training. Straight men are terrifying. Meanwhile, Vivi was giving it everything she had. Even though every step was a struggle, she refused to quit. But as she passed by Victor, her vision went dark and she nearly collapsed forward. Thankfully, Victor caught her in time. Do you want to give up now? The girl forced herself to shake her head. Then she pushed herself up and started running again. When training finally ended, Vivi collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath. Suddenly, a tree branch poked her in the face. A bunch of onlookers gathered around. Yep, she was definitely exhausted. She's really weak. But lasting through her first full training isn't bad at all. At least she's more persistent than some people who cut corners. At that moment, Victor walked over. Why are you all crowding here? Yvette, I'm heading to town this afternoon to buy some supplies. Come with me. Everyone's jaws collectively dropped. Isn't grocery shopping usually Big Sis's job? Boss, you work so hard every day, you shouldn't be doing errands like that. Big Sis is busy today, so I'm going in her place. Any objections? Or, can any of you finish training faster than I can? The crowd instantly went silent. Vivi, however, looked confused. Why doesn't anyone want Victor to go to town? Red hair cleared her throat awkwardly. First of all, I deeply respect the captain, so what I'm about to say is not slander. People don't want him to go, because his face is too scary. When the two finally arrived in town, the entire street trembled in fear. Victor planned to buy some basic rations first. But the moment vendors saw his cold, intimidating face, they either abandoned their stalls and ran or grabbed their kids and cried. Just then, a gentle hand rested on his shoulder. Victor turned and saw Vivi trying so hard not to laugh that her face was about to explode. Try it. Maybe smiling will make things better? Hearing her suggestion, Victor tried to imitate Vivi and showed a friendly smile. Good grief, he was better off not smiling. Smiling made him look even scarier. Vivi reached out and gently smoothed his furrowed brow. Don't frown, see? This looks much better. Feeling a girl's gentle touch for the first time, Victor suddenly felt his cheeks heat up and his whole body tense. Meanwhile, a vendor was silently praying. He looked up and saw Victor standing in front of him, though on second glance, it was surprisingly acceptable. And so, under Vivi's guidance, Victor successfully completed his first ever supply shopping. But before they walked far, a commotion broke out on the street. Vivi's noble aura and breathtaking beauty made people stop and stare. Wow, she's gorgeous. But the man next to her looks terrifying. What's their relationship? Why haven't we seen them before? Victor felt utterly confused. Why did everyone seem uneasy today? Was it just his imagination? Let's hurry, buy what we need and head back. So the two walked ahead while a crowd quietly trailed behind them. But every time Victor turned around, everyone instantly pretended nothing was happening. A moment later, they arrived at a clothing shop. Victor thoughtfully picked out clothes for Vivi and stared at the overwhelmingly rustic style. People on the street seem to be wearing this. Maybe it's the trend this season. Let's go with this one. Just as he was about to pay, a whole group of people jumped out to stop him. No way. How can you let such a pretty girl wear something like that? You'll be punished by heaven. Boss, bring out the best dresses you've been hiding in the back. Moments later, Vivi stepped out. Her stunning looks instantly shocked everyone. And you wanted her to wear that anti-style outfit. Look, does that make any sense? Victor held it in for a long time before finally giving in helplessly. Seeing that, the crowd finally relaxed. Seriously, with such a scary face, we thought he'd be hard to talk to. Turns out he's easygoing. Vivi was immediately surrounded by a crowd, everyone trying to win her favor. Then someone asked from within the crowd, "Hey, what's your relationship with him?" Vivi froze, glancing toward Victor. She thought and thought, yet still didn't know how to answer. After all, she had been pampered her whole life, only to be abruptly handed over to this man by her mother. She wondered what their relationship was now. Master and disciple, friends, or protector and ward. Seeing Vivi's troubled expression, people nearby began to speculate. Could this be abduction? It sounded scary, though she didn't look mistreated at all. Their casual chatter was taken seriously by a young boy in the crowd. Mustering all his courage, he shouted at Victor, "You scary-looking guy. I challenge you, fight me one-on-one." Victor stared at the boy in front of her, completely dumbfounded. When she stood up from her chair, she realized she was a full 8 heads taller than him. If I win, you must set that girl free. Then he grabbed Vivi's hands and added, don't worry, Dad, I'll definitely rescue you from that devil, even if it costs me my life. But, if I manage to come back alive, would you marry me? The two froze on the spot. After the little kids episode, they learned from others that Ed had only one sister to rely on. A sudden accident had injured her abdomen and the wound had never healed. They hadn't expected Ed to still have the mind to think about such improper matters. Yvette and Victor both showed puzzled expressions. At Victor's request, they went together to the home of Ed's sister, Manhwa. Manhwa could only receive her visitors while lying in bed. After hearing the stupid thing her younger brother had done, she felt as if her head might explode. She then asked Yvette to help her sit up. At that moment, Ed returned home from playing. The moment he opened the door, he froze. His sister's flying punch came straight at him. Are you trying to die? The combo attack made Yvette break into a cold sweat. After Ed's wailing finally stopped, Manhwa slumped down, exhausted. I'm running out of time. I don't even have the strength to hit anymore. She then offered a sincere apology. But Ed responded excitedly, I'm already an adult. Then you should start acting like one. I'm already exhausted. Can't you just behave for once? Ed froze for a brief moment, then dashed toward the door like a rebellious kid. Yvette lightly grabbed his arm. If you don't say these things while you're still together, it'll only hurt twice as much when the parting comes. Everyone is saying your sister doesn't have much time left. And the reason you challenged strong fighters and tried to win the admiration of others was just to show your sister that she didn't need to worry about you anymore, wasn't it? Don't worry, what you fear will absolutely not happen. At that moment, Yvette placed her hands over Manhwa's wound and a faint glow flashed. She kept asking, does it hurt? While Manhwa realized the pain had nearly vanished, making her think even more. Then she looked at her brother. I'm about to fall into a very, very long dream. Ed's pupils shrank instantly. Even if I never wake up again, I'll watch you grow inside that dream. Whatever happens, don't be afraid, I'll always be by your side. With that, Manhwa's voice slowly faded away. Ed couldn't hold back anymore and cried out, sister, halfway through, when Manhwa suddenly sat up like a spring. Victor and Ed panicked on the spot. Hey, she's coming back to life? Manhwa also noticed that her wound really didn't seem to hurt anymore. She immediately reached to lift her clothes, ready to check the wound herself. But when she lifted her clothes, even she couldn't believe it. The wound had completely healed. Victor realized something and turned to Yvette. What did you do? Yvette, like an obedient child, hid her hands behind her back. Back at the Duke's estate, her kindness had once led her to a little bird lying lifeless on the ground. But the moment she cupped it in her palms, a golden glow shimmered around her. That was the first time she discovered her healing ability, a secret kept hidden inside the Duke's manor. To confirm Yvette's power again, Manhwa raised her fist and knocked on her brother's forehead. Mess with me and you'll regret it. Yvette merely touched him lightly, and the injury slowly healed. Victor's expression darkened. Of all things, she had a healing ability, the rarest and most precious power in wartime. No wonder the Duke entrusted Yvette to him. The capital hadn't made any moves yet, but if this spread, it would definitely bring danger. Victor looked at Yvette beside him. Aren't you afraid this will bring trouble? Yvette stared blankly for a moment. Not afraid. Then she turned toward Victor. Because you'll protect me. Her lips curved slightly. Isn't that right? Victor was briefly stunned by her beauty in that moment. His expression softened and he muttered, right. Soon after, the villagers warmly invited them to join the festival. But the procurement task was already finished, so Victor had no choice but to decline. As a warrior, he couldn't indulge in fun and forget his duties. Yvette, however, clearly didn't share that opinion. She casually grabbed a cotton candy and began eating. Victor grew irritated, pinching her cheek. Why do you look like you're fully prepared to join the festival? Yvette calmly pulled out a book. Victor took it and looked at the contents. Strength isn't just about combat. Stamina, endurance, speech, handling affairs, identifying herbs, and even social skills. All of it eventually becomes part of your foundation. Yvette whispered softly, you taught me that. It's part of my training too. Didn't expect you to throw my words back at me, Victor grumbled, embarrassed. In the end, Victor couldn't resist the villagers' enthusiasm, and Yvette joined the festival as well. Preparations for the festival began and Victor helped set up the bonfire. The two of them quietly enjoyed the afternoon and soon night finally arrived. The town grew lively and the festival dance began as music filled the air. Yvette and Victor walked toward the venue. Watching the men and women dancing together, Victor couldn't help asking, "Are we all supposed to dance later?" Yvette stared at him blankly. "Is there a problem?" Victor looked defeated. "I don't know how to dance." Yvette recalled how she couldn't shoot, couldn't hunt, couldn't even stand properly during training, and she definitely couldn't beat Victor in a fight. But when it came to dancing, she absolutely crushed Victor. Her moment to shine had finally arrived. Victor immediately turned around, planning to ask someone else to teach him. Yvette grabbed him at once. "I'll teach you." Learning that Victor couldn't dance made Yvette genuinely thrilled. She finally had a chance to show off. She demonstrated the steps herself, and Victor's stiff, awkward movements gave her the perfect chance to tease him. "With posture like that, how are you supposed to become a proper lady?" Victor flushed in embarrassment. When the music picked up, Yvette changed her approach. "Just follow the rhythm. You'll learn faster." As Yvette stepped closer and closer, Victor's face turned bright red. Seeing the festive crowd around him, he suddenly felt dazed. After so many years on the battlefield, he could no longer remember the last time he attended something like this. Working with strangers, helping set up the festival, even learning to dance. Victor couldn't understand why he kept breaking his own rules for this girl. And the strange thing was, he didn't feel displeased at all. Yvette's gentle, healing smile made it impossible for him to refuse her. The two of them enjoyed the dance as if no one else existed, but Victor, who had never been this close to a woman, was anything but calm. He was so nervous he couldn't get a single word out, and the lively drums around them seemed to echo his pounding heartbeat. With their bodies so close, Victor's face had already turned bright red. Just then, someone called out to break the tension. "Captain Victor, the village chief would like to see you." Victor's expression made the villagers assume he wasn't feeling well. He pressed a hand to his racing heart. Events like this were rare for the Lion Squad, and he was unusually excited today, talking more than usual. He used that as an excuse to cover up the real reason behind his reaction. The next morning, the two returned to the camp. Yvette threw herself into training, and she was no longer the same as before. She hit the bullseye with a single strike. The members couldn't help but praise her. Though only her sword skills had improved, her stamina, endurance, and daily tasks were still a mess. But everyone could see she was changing bit by bit. Victor stepped forward to teach her personally. "Your accuracy has improved, but your power is still off." Saying that, he moved in to guide her hands. But the moment he felt Yvette's unblinking stare on him, Victor froze stiff. With a quick sidestep, he pulled away. "That, right there, is how you generate power." Arthur immediately sensed something off. "What the heck? That forced distance. Didn't you used to correct people by grabbing their hands directly?" The squad members watched while munching air snacks. "Did you two fight or something?" Yvette looked at Victor in utter confusion. Victor gave no explanation and simply ordered Arthur to teach Yvette instead. His face already flushed red, he didn't even give Arthur a chance to refuse, just turned around and left. Arthur's eyes narrowed with wisdom. This guy, something's weird. When the two moved aside, Arthur thought, "This is actually the first time I've been alone with the Duke's young lady. What am I supposed to talk about?" "Hey you, why are you training so hard anyway? People usually work this hard because they've got some goal, right? Like fame, status, money. For example, my goal, to make a name for myself and slap my arrogant old man in the face." Yvette said, "I don't really have anything I want." Arthur chuckled. "Then how about starting to think of one now? With a goal, your training will improve twice as fast." Duke Winchester must have fought that hard back then just to earn her title. Yvette looked surprised. "Wait, you know my mother?" Arthur waved his hands quickly. No, I joined much later. I only heard lots of stories about her." To prove her ability, she came to this remote region on her own, quelling unrest, taking in orphans, keeping the land safe. Her connection with the Lion Squad began then. Before her, no woman had ever inherited a noble title. Reaching that point must have cost her dearly. Even now, many nobles still refuse to acknowledge her legitimacy. As he spoke, Arthur gradually leaned against Yvette. "Money, status, survival of the fittest. Only the victors deserve everything. That's the eternal truth of the world." Suddenly, Victor slapped Arthur's bow out of his hand. He shot Arthur a cold glare. "If you're that idle, I can spar with you. I told you to teach her, not to flirt." Arthur panicked and waved both hands. "You act like you don't care, but you were watching us the whole time, weren't you?" Inwardly he trembled. "Scared me half to death. I thought he heard everything. I was just running my mouth. Nope, I'm out of here." Victor watched Arthur's fleeing figure. Whatever he said, don't take it to heart. Yvette, who had been spacing out, suddenly froze in place. Victor panicked and ran after Arthur. Hey, what exactly did you tell her? Late at night, Victor was sound asleep when a hand suddenly rested on his shoulder. Victor, did you hear me? I just can't figure it out. What am I working so hard for? Victor jolted awake, sitting straight up. Yvette? Am I dreaming? Why would she appear in his room at this hour? After a moment, Victor managed to steady himself. Yvette, it's fine. Go on. Yvette nodded. Mother, and you as well. You both clearly have the ability to climb higher, so why settle for where you are now? Victor frowned. It's Arthur again, isn't it? That kid must have said something stupid. Yvette continued, whether it's mother's comfort or our current situation. Once you have power, all problems can be solved, right? If that's true, I didn't need to travel all the way here, don't you think so? Victor sighed. Power isn't as omnipotent as you imagined. It's both a blade and a poison. The moment you believe power can solve everything, you accept the rule of the strong devouring the weak. And once you truly possess power, you'll fear losing it and eventually betray your own principles. The strong oppress the weak oppress the weaker. And to avoid being oppressed, you'll feel like you must stand at the very peak of power. And when you look back after achieving everything, you'll realize there's no one left beside you, only yourself. I'm not criticizing your thoughts. Just for me, compared to fame and status, I'd rather my sword become the support for those who have no strength to survive. Still, I'm surprised, you really are that ambitious. Yvette pouted. I'm troubled because I don't like it. Heh, is that so? If you could start over, would staying in the ducal estate have been better? Yvette replied, even though the houses here are tiny and worn down, and I have to do everything myself plus work and train, the people and things I've seen here are things I could never experience while trapped in the Duchess's mansion. I like the people here, the food here, the sky here. I don't like all that scheming and deceit. Thinking about it this way, I guess the way things are now really is the best. Victor let out a faint smile. If that's how you feel, then that's great. Yvette, what are you smiling at? I was thinking, maybe one day my sword can be used to protect you. Early the next morning, Yvette arrived at the assembly hall, still half asleep. Everyone was already there. Turns out today was payday. She didn't really know what was going on but figured she should blend in. Soon Victor began speaking. Aside from base salary, this month we have 11 people receiving full attendance bonuses, and 3 receiving injury subsidies. If anyone has objections to the extra rewards or penalties, you may speak to me in private. Rosanna performed exceptionally again this month. Xenia, 0 points. You two had the most deductions. Be careful next month. After finishing, Victor turned and continued, lastly Yvette. Arthur crossed his legs. I'm used to it. He always saves Yvette for the finale. Victor slowly walked up to Yvette. As an auxiliary member, your probation salary is 300 gold per month. Yvette's eyes widened in excitement. Victor cleared his throat. Don't celebrate too soon. You broke 11 dishes while washing them. At this rate, everyone will have to eat with their hands. And you also forgot to close the sheep pen door. Almost caused a huge loss. Catching them back was a real pain. And you even used Lin Jiqing's premium Longjing tea to boil eggs. Lin Jiqing finally reacted. I never heard about that. Hearing all this, Yvette's scalp tingled. Oh no, how did it become like this? Victor stepped forward. After adding up all the losses and deducting your insurance and welfare fees, what's left is your salary. Wow. The Duchess's young lady just earned her very first paycheck. Yvette excitedly raised the 3 gold coins. Victor looked at her. If you have no plans this afternoon, you can go shopping in town with the others. Yvette thought, this isn't bad. I should treat myself with my first month's salary. Not long after they arrived on the street, someone greeted her eagerly. Big sister Yvette, out shopping with your friends? Want to take a look at some hair accessories? Even if you don't have money, it's okay, we can give them to you. The group was a bit curious. When did she become friends with the villagers? Yvette didn't want to take advantage of them, so she took out her 3 gold coins. Everyone immediately crowded around. Whoa, you already got your salary. Amazing, we have to celebrate today. The Lion Squad members froze on the spot. Wow, that's incredible. Such strong social skills. She should handle diplomacy from now on. Candy, hair ties, scarves. Sure enough, with her first paycheck she wants to buy something memorable. Yvette asked, Melissa, what would you choose? Suddenly Yvette said, I found something perfect for you to buy. Look, it's Freshly grilled squid. Hey, that's obviously something you want to eat. Come on, our first paychecks were all spent on food. Don't talk nonsense that she's a girl. How can she be like you? Then Francis, what did you buy back then? I bought alcohol at the time. See. Anyway, I'm done talking to you. Yvette, you tell us. Yvette stepped forward. She liked squid too but didn't give in, she kept her distance. How can this be? Yvette, you're not saying anything either. What are you going to buy? Fine, then I'll give you another bite. But take a small one, okay? Francis asked. But Yvette, have you already decided on what to buy? Yvette hugged her wallet tightly. Yes. With my first paycheck, I want to buy a gift for the person I like the most. Yvette then went off to choose a gift, while the others secretly watched her from behind. Hey, what do you guys think? I didn't expect it. After just 1 month here, she already has someone she likes. Who do you think it is? Girls her age usually like Arthur's type, right? Francis curled his lip. If it's Arthur, then forget a gift. Just give him money, he'll be happier. Could it be Fred? Before Yvette came, that kid never joined any group activities. Right, I can vouch for that, he was dragged there by force. Francis muttered. No way. Could it be that person? Yvette, how's the choosing going? Did anything catch your eye? Yvette held a sword. Psych. Good swords are too expensive, I can't afford one. Francis nodded. So the person practices combat. What kind of guy is he? Let us help you analyze. Yvette rested her chin on her hand. He always keeps an eye on me, gets really scary when angry and likes weapons like swords. Francis thought to himself, just as I suspected, it must be Captain Victor. Yvette continued. Also, although I don't fully understand, he always seems to get involved in dangerous situations that I'm a little worried. Suddenly, a merchant called out to Yvette. Please take a look. I've got something just right for you. Francis said, with that face you really aren't suited for business. You look like a total swindler. The merchant chuckled. Come on now, don't say that, just take a look first. This brooch is made from preserved violet smoke blossoms that it's said to protect warriors and bring them home safely. Only 3 coins for you. Francis gaped in shock. So expensive. This is daylight robbery. Violet smoke blossoms grow everywhere here and you're charging 3 coins? The merchant waved his hands. Please spare me, miss. Making these takes effort too. Yvette examined the brooch carefully. Boss, can you make it cheaper? Dear customer, 3 coins is already the lowest price. Francis finally lost patience and pulled Yvette away. Let's go somewhere else. There'll definitely be something better. Yvette shook her head. Francis, this one is fine. I want this one. Boss, I'll take it. And also these, since I'm buying your brooch, give me these 2 as freebies, okay? 3 coins for the brooch plus 2 freebies. Heh. Fine, you're really good at bargaining. Francis could only picture Victor wearing the brooch. Just wait. There'll be a good show tomorrow. Early the next morning, Francis was waiting right outside Victor's door. Yo, boss. Morning. Victor nodded. Morning, Francis. What are you doing? What are you looking at? Francis glanced left and right, muttering internally, what the heck? Where's the brooch? Victor looked confused. Hey, do you need something from me? Oh no, nothing, boss. Go ahead and have breakfast. Then another person came. Captain, you're up. Victor frowned. Is something wrong with me? What exactly are you staring at? Nothing, just checking. Hee, arms and legs all here. Good. Then another person came over. Good morning, Captain. Victor was truly running out of patience, thinking what a strange day. Stop staring at me and go away. With no answers from him, everyone went to Yvette instead. Did you give the gift you bought yesterday? What's wrong? I delivered it yesterday afternoon. Really? Then that's weird. Why didn't we see him wearing it? Meanwhile, in the Duke's mansion. Your Grace, a package has arrived for you from the Lion Squad. The Duke immediately turned his head away. I don't want it. If I see her complaining about hardship, I'll definitely bring her back. Your Grace, please be rational. You'll have to face it eventually. Let's calm down and see what it is first. All right, I'll open it. The Duke slowly opened the gift box, revealing a purple brooch and a small note. Read, my first salary. Back at the Lion Squad early the next morning, because of a mission, Yvette went to Cassandra's bedside very early, saying nothing, just staring at her. Cassandra finally couldn't take it anymore and sat up abruptly. Ugh, you're so noisy. Fine, I'm getting up. I was just sitting next to you. I didn't even say anything. Cassandra glared at her. I know, but your eyes are ugly. Yvette answered righteously. A mature warrior does not oversleep. Cassandra snapped back. Look at you. You obviously didn't sleep at all last night. Whatever, it's your first mission. Being excited is normal. She then touched her forehead worriedly. Still, taking her on a mission this early feels too soon that she's so useless. What help could she even be? Francis said, speaking of that, I asked the captain the same question yesterday. What can she help with? Look at Yvette, if something happens again. But the captain said that this time she might actually be the most important part of the entire mission. And so the group departed early. Yvette hummed a cheerful tune the whole way. Cassandra yelled at her. Hey, do you think this is a picnic? Listen carefully. This mission is to support a village hit by the tide surge and treat their wounded. Lives are at stake, so don't you dare slack off. Yvette glanced around and muttered, people might die, so why does everyone look so calm? Fred replied, well, this happens every year. Then he explained to her. Every season, a large number of beasts migrate south. They pass through Capra village, our destination today, and the hungry beasts attack the village, causing many casualties. There are 4 waves total, lasting about a week. The lion squad steps in during the final wave to help subdue the beasts and handle the injured. Yvette asked, since it's so dangerous, why don't they live somewhere safer? Cassandra sighed. You really are a noble lady. That if they fail, yes, there will be many wounded. But if they win, the whole village won't have to worry about food for a year, and beast materials sell for high prices in the capital. High risk means high reward. For a remote place like this, it's actually a decent way to survive. Alright, before we arrive, I'm going to nap a bit. You'd better rest too. Once we get there, it'll be exhausting. Hearing this, Cassandra and Fred fell silent at the same time. Clearly, this mission would be troublesome. After more travel, they finally reached the site. Yvette stepped into the relief tent. Oh my. So many injured, this is all hard labor. A villager shouted, more bandages. Hurry, the bleeding won't stop. Has the support team arrived yet? Cassandra quickly answered, coming. The villager pointed to the top of the tent. Anywhere with a red cloth strip means they need help. Everyone rushed into work. Fred told Yvette, we'll get busy first, handle things on your own for now. Yvette stepped into another tent, where a man with a severe leg injury lay on a cot. The doctor was treating him and she approached slowly. Excuse me. The doctor cut her off. Are you from the Lion Regiment? What's your specialty? Potions or medical care? Yvette stammered. I'm sorry. The doctor frowned. So you know nothing. Fine. Under these conditions, an extra pair of hands still helps. He's a villager who got separated and was attacked by an unknown beast. Fortunately, there's no poison. But he was found too late. The lower limb is completely necrotic that I have to amputate it. Hold him down for me. This is my first time doing this, so I need you to keep him steady. He prepared to begin, but Yvette panicked and stopped him. Wait. Does it have to be an amputation, without a leg? How will he live afterward? The doctor sighed helplessly. There's no choice, that it's better than dying, isn't it? If you hesitate now, he might lose his life. Help me quickly. Yvette paused, thinking hard. Then she said seriously, may I try instead? Outside the tent, Arthur was reporting to Victor. They're coming in fiercer than last year. Casualties have increased as well. Luckily, most of our members only suffered minor injuries, so they can still fight tomorrow. Victor nodded. All right, then we won't use up more medical resources for now. Captain, what's going on? It seems unusually crowded today. Curious, the captain lifted the tent flap. Inside, people were buzzing with excitement. This is incredible, we're saved. Yvette was performing a healing spell on a critically injured man. Her slender hand lifted gently and a golden orb of mana appeared, warming the wounded area. The injury healed at a visibly rapid pace. Yvette let out a faint breath, clearly exhausted. All right, who's next? A young man raised his hand. Me. Yvette was about to continue when Victor suddenly grabbed her hand. That's enough, we're stopping for today. Yvette leaned weakly against his shoulder. Victor roared, clear the way, that's it for today. Everyone looked confused. What? How can you stop now? What are we supposed to do? Hey, don't leave. Yvette halted, whispering weakly, it's fine. I can still keep going. But as soon as she said that, her legs gave out and she collapsed into Victor's arms. Yvette. No matter how he called to her, she didn't respond. After a long while, Yvette slowly woke up. It's morning already. How long did I sleep? She opened the window and sunlight poured in. Only then did she notice a note left on the windowsill. Come to the back mountain when you wake up. Yvette arrived at the mountaintop as instructed, but no one else was there. Only a grill with food cooking on it. The scenery here is amazing. You can see the whole village from up here. A moment later, Victor showed up carrying a sack. What's wrong? No appetite? Yvette mumbled. That last man I tried to treat yesterday, he seemed really desperate. Victor sighed. Understandable. With wounds that severe, if they aren't treated in time, he'll likely suffer permanent after effects. If he loses his ability to work, life will be very hard for his whole family. Anyway, how many people did you save yesterday? 3 people. Less than I thought. Cassandra and Fred can usually handle around 20 injured people in a day. Victor tugged at the sack as he continued. Your talent is incredible, but your usage is still rough. I don't know much about magic myself, so I can't teach you, but she can. With that, Victor yanked the rope loose and a whole person rolled out of the sack. Yvette gasped that it was Ksenia. Ow, ow, ow. Captain, is this really how you ask someone for help? Victor lifted her by the collar. You're tied up like this because you stole someone's booze and the villagers caught you as a thief that I just redeemed you. This has nothing to do with me asking for help. Ksenia asked awkwardly, so what exactly do you want me to do? Victor held a small dagger, swiftly cutting his own finger so blood flowed down. Showing you directly is faster. Yvette gently held Victor's hand. A golden healing glow appeared as she began treating him. Moments later the wound gradually closed, yet the golden light continued to overflow. Ksenia stared at Yvette in shock. Good grief, are you trying to waste your talent? Yvette didn't dare respond and instead whispered an explanation to Victor. Victor nodded seriously. That's what Ksenia said. She told me the healers in the capital are all kept inside the sanctuary, and she hasn't stepped outside since she was 5. Ksenia immediately shoved Victor aside. Why do you even need a translator? Move. You're only making her rely on you too much. Alright, do it again, let me see. Yvette activated her healing spell once more. Stop, stop, stop. Completely wrong. Ksenia barked. You can't think of it as air. Air is unstable and dissipates easily. With healing shaped like vapor, only about 20%, maybe less, actually works. If you want to save more people, you need to turn your mana into threads. Yvette blinked in confusion. Threads? What does that mean? Ksenia stepped forward. Yvette, give me your hand. The moment their hands touched, thin mana threads streamed from Ksenia's fingertips into Yvette's arm. Yvette immediately felt discomfort. Ksenia barked. Don't pull away. Picture your mana forming a long, resilient thread. It can contract and extend freely, branching into countless strands to reach every corner of the patient's body and locate the problem. After a moment she asked, well, any inspiration? Yvette frowned. Maybe a little. Good. My innate skill is explosion, so I know nothing about healing. Even this little bit is just something I heard from my clan. Back then we were ambushed and my people were either killed or gravely wounded. Since birth they called me a genius. But when I truly faced dying companions I was almost powerless. That's why I envy you. Suddenly the doctor from yesterday rushed over. Miss Yvette, please. There's an emergency patient. Ksenia said, perfect timing. A real battlefield test. Don't use that low efficiency healing anymore. If you master this, you'll face far less sorrow than I did. Just like I said, try it. If you succeed, your efficiency will double. Yvette hesitated no longer. She also wanted to seize the chance to try. She hurried after the doctor into the tent. Oh no, it's Francis, he's injured. He was clutching his abdomen in agony, blood pouring out non-stop. Moments later, Victor rushed in. What happened? Didn't everyone return safely? How did he get hurt this badly? The doctor quickly said, among the trophies you brought back, was there a high-intelligence beast that wasn't completely dead? It happened suddenly. To protect the nearby villagers, he took the hit with his own body. That's the only reason it didn't become a bigger disaster. His condition is terrible. His internal organs are severely damaged. Basic treatment won't work anymore. All I can do is stop the bleeding temporarily. Victor turned to Yvette. How is it? Has your mana recovered? I recovered a little, but not enough to heal him using the old method. Fred pleaded anxiously. Please, Yvette, we can't take the pain of losing another companion. Yvette understood, but without full confidence, she lowered her head and nodded softly. The doctor pulled Cassandra aside. Hey, are you sure about letting her do it? If healing fails, the patient could die on the spot. But if we use palliative treatment, he may spend the rest of his life bedridden. Though at least he'll live. Cassandra exclaimed. What are you saying? If he can never hold a sword again, isn't that the same as killing him? The doctor replied, what else can I do? Unless you have a better solution? And look at Yvette. Her hands are trembling. Are you sure she can handle it? Though Yvette was extremely nervous, thinking about all the moments she'd shared with Francis slowly calmed her down. After a moment, she steadied herself and gently placed her hand over the wound. Warm healing energy flowed in and Francis instantly arched his back. His face twisted in agony as he gasped, it hurts, it hurts. Fred urged anxiously, Yvette, you can do it. But Yvette stopped. Sorry, I can't control it. The doctor muttered, stopping again. That's why I said we should use palliative treatment. Victor stepped forward, softly holding Yvette's hand. No other methods are needed, you can heal him. Trust me, my judgment has never been wrong. Hearing that, Yvette felt much more at ease. She took a breath. Then hold him down for me. Don't let him move. Fred grabbed a piece of cloth and stuffed it into her mouth to keep her from biting herself. Cassandra held her firmly from behind to keep her from escaping. She's still shaking. Seriously. Cassandra hugged Yvette tightly. All right, you useless girl. Go ahead. Yvette took a deep breath, then slowly activated her healing spell. A golden, thread-like light shot straight toward the wound. Xenia watched from the shadows the entire time. Seeing Yvette successfully unfurl the healing spell, she finally turned away with satisfaction. See, you can do it. After the treatment, they moved Francis onto a bed. Fred finally let out a long sigh of relief. Seeing him like that, Yvette thought he should be out of danger. Now you can relax, right? Cassandra hugged Yvette excitedly. You're seriously amazing. But Xenia voiced another opinion. Is this really good? The stronger she becomes, the easier she'll become a target for every faction. Teaching her all this might just bring trouble to ourselves. Victor replied, that's what I thought at first too, but she doesn't seem to see it that way. Yvette has always had an open, straightforward nature. She's not afraid of doubt, nor of rejection. Whatever hardship she encounters, she'll choose to face it head-on rather than run away. Just like today, if not for her growth, we might have lost another comrade. So I made up my mind, no matter what happens, I will give everything I have to protect that honesty of hers. With that, the support mission finally came to an end. Everyone began packing up, preparing to head back. Cassandra lay lazily in the carriage. Once we're back, I'm sleeping for a whole day and night. Xenia said, I'm taking a bath first that I feel like I already smell. Fred sat weakly in the carriage. Still, this was amazing. It's my first time seeing a mission where everyone survived. No casualties at all. Moisture. Xenia raised an eyebrow. Exactly. The villagers came out to see them off, gathering around Yvette. A little girl placed a flower wreath on her head. Ever since leaving home, Yvette had never been this happy. Xenia muttered, she's really a terrifying woman. The next morning, Yvette came out looking for food. Morning. What are you all doing here? Is breakfast ready? Cassandra wore a troubled expression. Sigh. It's all because someone spent way too freely. This month's expenses went far beyond what we planned. Yvette said while eating a pastry. Oh really? Yet she's talking about you. Keep this up and we'll all be starving. No way, then what should we do? Though she sounded concerned, Yvette kept looking for more food. Sigh. Isn't this kid getting thicker-skinned by the day? Cassandra cleared her throat. So, for the financial health of the Lion Squad, we need to find ways to increase income and earn more funds. Easy to say, but making money isn't that simple. Cassandra's eyes gleamed. About that, I discovered something incredible last night. While taking a walk, I saw Arthur with an unfamiliar man, acting all suspicious, exchanging something. I followed him back to his room and guess what? A whole chest full of gold coins. If we could use that money, our current financial crisis would be solved. So what now? Do we take him out? Yvette gestured with her fork. Yeah, take him out. Hey, are you guys bandits? Cassandra waved her hands. That's not what I meant. I just want him to share his money-making method. Maybe take a cut. Not long after, Arthur was tied up tightly. Hey, what did I even do wrong? Yvette spoke solemnly. According to the Lion Squad member handbook, acquiring illegal income without permission and refusing to confess despite clear evidence shows no remorse. Multiple offenses combined. Immediate execution. Arthur could only laugh bitterly. Immediate execution. There's no on-the-spot firing squad, is there? Alright, I get it. Ask whatever you want, I'll tell you everything. Arthur sighed. It's just some pocket money. Was all this really necessary? Not long after everyone gathered in the library, Yvette asked in surprise, wait, those were royalties? Arthur loosened his wrists. Yet a local publisher asked me to submit manuscripts. Popular fiction and stuff. That's not illegal, right? Yvette picked up a book. You mean this one? Reborn into a noble family. My stepmother is Forta. Arthur immediately cut her off. Hold on. That was the publisher's request, not my personal taste. The market is like this. What choice do I have? Hey, you over there, stop reading it so seriously. Cassandra said, even so, for the Lion Squad's finances, we'll just have to push through. Zach, you know romance best, you write it. Caught off guard, Zach could only step up and start writing himself. After a long stretch of frantic writing, it was finally finished. Zach collapsed face first onto the desk. Cassandra glanced at Arthur. Seriously, who would even buy something like this? Who cares who buys it? Let's just send it out and see. Look, Yvette's reading it with great interest. She seems to love it. 3 days later, Arthur scoffed. As expected, it sold exactly 1 copy. Probably only some lifelong virgin who's never held a girl's hand would be into this. A while later, Arthur went to Victor's room. Boss, you called for me? Victor quickly set his book aside. Yes. It's time to plan our winter strategy. This winter will be colder than usual. We need to prepare early. Perimeter security, food reserves, weapon maintenance. All of it needs advanced planning. Arthur wasn't listening at all. His eyes were glued to the book. Victor quickly covered it with a sheet of paper. Take this and discuss it with Zach. I want it submitted next week. It turned out that a few days earlier Victor had come in for a consultation. With a single strike he split the wooden table in half. As you can see, Victor said, my strength hasn't declined. But recently, whenever I'm with that girl, I feel chest tightness, irregular heartbeats, and sometimes dizziness. Am I sick? What? Since when does our hospital handle romance counseling? I've never heard of that. Then why don't you just send her away? The woman took out a pouch of coins. How could I send her away? She paid a lot. Don't worry, Captain. Our hospital is famous for its medical skills. Please describe your symptoms in detail. Victor nodded. The symptoms first appeared a few days ago. We attended a festival together. Since then, whenever I get close to her, my body reacts abnormally. But when I'm close to anyone else, nothing happens. To analyze further. I even ran distance tests. If our eyes don't meet, symptoms start within about 1 meter. Wow, very precise. Near her, your heart races. Near others, it doesn't. And if your eyes meet, the symptoms worsen. Which means the cause of your condition isn't an illness. It's that person. Do you understand what I'm saying? Victor's eyes widened in shock. Wait, are you saying she poisoned me? Captain, are you out of your mind? Yes, so that's why I came to the hospital. The doctor paused, clearly thinking this guy was hopelessly dense, then opened a drawer and said, based on my diagnosis, this isn't a physical illness. Medicine won't help. I'll prescribe you a book instead. Study it carefully, it might help you understand your problem better. Victor took the book with suspicion. The title read Reborn. My stepmother is Fota. What the hell? Books can cure illnesses now. Sorry. Wrong one. That's actually my personal reading. Victor thought for a moment. In the end, he still spent 10 gold coins to buy it. Does this really work? Arthur, have you ever experienced unexplained heart palpitations? Nope. Arthur shook his head like a rattle drum. He quickly made an excuse and left, still thinking as he stepped outside. That guy was definitely scammed. The old man at the bookstore would do anything to sell books. After Victor returned from the clinic, Arthur thought if anyone finds out about this, the Lion Squad will be humiliated. At the very least, they had to keep it from Yvette. The next second, Yvette suddenly appeared. Arthur, what are you doing? Arthur nearly jumped out of his skin. Yvette. Why are you here? I'm looking for Victor. His heart sank. This is bad. Letting her go in now would be a disaster. For the honor of the Lion Squad, he had no choice. Sorry, Yvette, I have to stop you here. If you go in, I'll die. Yvette frowned suspiciously. When so what? It was over, completely ignored. Arthur felt like he'd been taken out in one hit. At that moment, Victor came over after hearing the noise. Hey, what are you two arguing about? Arthur's heart sank. This is bad, they can't be left alone right now. Victor leaned against the doorway. Yvette, what did you need me for? The two spoke naturally with nothing strange in their exchange. Arthur was the one left stunned. Huh? What's going on here? Victor said. Arthur, stop crouching there. You handle this. Yvette, come with me for a moment. Arthur hurriedly asked, Captain, are you okay now? Victor nodded slightly. Yes, that it's already been resolved. Victor thought back. Just when he believed the doctor had tricked him, he noticed a test sheet tucked inside the book. Bonus questionnaire. Used to determine your current relationship with the other person. Do you worry about her safety? Do you dislike other men getting close to her? Do you want to fulfill all her requests unconditionally? Do you feel happy about her growth? The final conclusion read, "This is what's known as a protective father mindset." Arthur nearly lost his mind. What the hell? A father mindset? That makes no sense at all. Meanwhile, the utterly clueless Victor handed the book to Yvette. This is actually a great book. Want to read it? After that, the way the two got along returned to normal and they went back to their usual training routine. The Lion Squad was also taking time to recuperate. One day, Cassandra said, "Yvette, if I remember correctly, I sent you out to deliver meals. So why did you come back with more food?" Yvette explained, "Everyone was really nice. One told me to have a bite. Another said I should eat more. They all said I'm too skinny and need to nourish myself." Cassandra sighed. "Well, if it was their goodwill, there's nothing we can do." In truth, many of the snacks came from Yvette's private exchanges, bartering items on the side. Cassandra immediately pressed her. "So aside from the first one, everything else came from shady deals?" Yvette lowered her head obediently. "Sorry." Cassandra snorted. "I'm just saying eating this many snacks every day isn't good for your health." Before she could finish, Yvette quickly stuffed a piece of chocolate into her mouth. Cassandra continued, speaking unclearly, "If you can't eat proper meals later and the boss yells at you, don't blame me." Another piece of cake was shoved into her mouth mid-sentence. "Hey, you brat, stop stuffing food into my mouth." Yvette raised an eyebrow. "Then what? Should I return everything?" In the end, the two of them ate all the snacks. Half a month later, Cassandra let out a scream. "No, this can't be right. Something's wrong. My bed collapsed under me. Seriously, we have been eating a lot lately, but still. Did I really go that long without looking in the mirror? I need to know." Cassandra walked up to the mirror. Just as she lifted her clothes to look at her stomach, Arthur suddenly pushed the door open. "Hey, have you seen my shoulder guard?" "Wait, what? Crap." Cassandra was mortified. Her face burned red. "This is bad," he saw it. "Oh no, this is humiliating." Arthur, completely clueless, asked, "Did you gain weight?" Bang. Arthur was knocked flat by a punch. "Seriously, why would you bring that up now?" Cassandra fled at once, her thoughts in chaos. "What do I do? I need someone to fix the bed. But if people find out about this..." Cut to Francis laughing out loud. "Gained weight. Didn't expect you to be the type who worries about that. Just train it into muscle instead." Cassandra thought to herself, "Forget it. Even if I don't want to, I'll have to talk to that person." Meanwhile, Yvette had just taken out some snacks and was about to enjoy them. Cassandra suddenly came running over, shouting, "Yvette." Yvette blinked in confusion and broke off a piece of cake to offer her. "I'm not eating. That's not the point. Listen, here's what happened." After a long explanation, the truth finally came out. "Look, the bed collapsed. Can you help me?" "No problem, Dad, I'll help you." Cassandra was deeply moved. "See. She looks unreliable most of the time, but when it matters, she really comes through." Meanwhile, Yvette was quietly snickering. Either way, they needed a solution, or there'd be nowhere to sleep tonight. Yvette suggested, "You could sleep with us girls." "No. Absolutely not. I'd rather die than sleep in the same bed as you guys." Just as the two were arguing, Francis came over, drawn by the noise. "What's going on? Why are you so loud? Hey, why are you two hugging? Wow, you really know how to have fun, huh?" Seeing the look of utter disbelief on Francis's face, Cassandra hurriedly explained, "It's not what you think. Just listen to me." Francis had no intention of listening. He lunged toward them with a grin. You didn't even invite me. I want to join too." Cassandra looked completely dead inside. "Stop it, don't tickle me." Just then Marinette rushed over. "Hey, if you keep being this loud, Victor's going to yell at you." Francis chuckled. "Then don't come in." Suddenly Rosanna climbed in through the window. "What are you all doing? Is this what people call indoor camping?" Xenia showed up carrying a bundle. "Look, I stole some meat from the commander's storage." All the girls shouted at once, "Put it back right now." Cassandra stared blankly. "Seriously, why is everyone here?" One wanted to play cards, another wanted snacks. No one cared about the bed's feelings at all. The outcome was predictable. After a loud creak, the new bed collapsed again right on cue. All the men felt the tremor at once. What was that? Enemy attack. Victor kicked the door open. "What's going on? Is everyone all right?" Seeing the scene before him, Victor was utterly speechless. As for Yvette, Even after falling over, she still clutched that piece of meat like her life depended on it. Yvette looked at Victor awkwardly. Do you want some? Victor ignored her completely and barked, everyone 20 laps. Now, in the end, 3 new beds had to be rebuilt. Yvette said she wanted to sleep together again next time. Cassandra snorted. Absolutely not. That day Lin Jiqing and Fried were grilling fish. Ow, that's hot. Eating with a beard really is a hassle. Your beard's getting longer. Why not shave it? No way. A beard is a symbol of manliness. My goal is to grow it as long as the South Pole immortals. Fried curled his lip. What even is that? That's gross. Lin Jiqing laughed. Figures. A kid like you wouldn't understand a man's romance. Right, Zach? Zach replied, I'm not planning to grow mine out. On the battlefield, a man's beard is just as dangerous as a woman's long hair. If I were your enemy, I'd be thrilled. Perfect handle. Grab with the left, stab with the right. Clean and efficient. Cold sweat ran down Lin Jiqing's back. Maybe I should shave it. The next morning, Rosanna got up to wash her face. Lin Jiqing happened to be there. Morning. Rosanna looked up. What? Oh my god. What happened? You shaved it all. Fame comes fast, and so does trouble. I end no time at all. Nearly the entire squad knew Lin Jiqing had shaved his beard. A crowd gathered to stare. He really shaved it. I didn't even recognize him. He's actually handsome. Lin Jiqing was about to lose it. Hey, back off. Stop touching me already. Rosanna frowned. Just thinking about how I used to bathe in the river with him. Feels kind of weird now. Xenia looked surprised. So you've been treating him like one of the girls this whole time? Cassandra chuckled. Looks like quite a few girls are getting restless. Xenia said, why not let Yvette flirt with him and crush their hopes? Frances curled her lip. She's not as shallow as you, right, Yvette? Yvette hadn't expected that at all. Yet she actually looked a little shy. Wait, is that a flutter of the heart? Frances collapsed onto the table. Yvette, I didn't expect you to be the type who changes targets so easily. I misjudged you. Xenia shrugged. What's so bad about it? At least they match looks-wise. Rosanna quickly cut in. Stop talking. What if someone hears? Right on cue, Victor walked over. What are you all doing? Just a question for you. If Yvette and Lin Jiqing had feelings for each other, would you support them being together? Victor lowered his gaze slightly, his voice tinged with emotion. They're close in age and get along well. As long as it doesn't interfere with duty, why would I oppose it? Oh, I see. Didn't expect the captain to be this calm. Victor stood up. If there's nothing else, I'll head back to training. Hey Captain, where are you going? The door's over there. By the afternoon, Arthur was leading a group in a soccer match. Frances said, aren't you worried the captain's going to chew you out for this? Nah, look at him. He's been zoning out by himself all afternoon. Victor stood there with his arms crossed, leaning against a tree. His face looked grim, yet his thoughts kept circling back to Yvette. Man, I've never seen that expression on him before. Did he actually fall for her? Makes sense though that she's at that age. Dating's only natural. Pretty, kind, the whole package. Anywhere she goes, guys are bound to chase her. It just happens to be Lin Jiqing this time. What's wrong with me? Is this what it feels like to marry off a daughter? Just then Lin Jiqing and Yvette walked right past him. Victor thought, if those two really ended up together. Suddenly, Frances sent the ball flying with a powerful kick. The spinning ball shot straight at Victor and slammed into his head with a loud thud. Frances instantly ducked behind Arthur. Sorry, boss. Totally not on purpose. Are you okay? Victor spun around, his anger exploding. Do you all have nothing better to do? Fine. Everyone, 20 kilos of extra weight. Run from here to the mountain peak. Before long, Lin Jiqing and Xenia couldn't keep going. Panting heavily, they collapsed flat on the ground. Spotting a big tree where Yvette was resting, the two of them crawled over, panting the whole way. After finally reaching the shade, Yvette looked down at the two sprawled on the ground and asked, confused, what are you doing? Is this a date? Xenia snapped back, have you ever seen anyone date in this position? The two leaned against the tree, catching their breath. Man, no idea what's gotten into the boss today that he's pushing us like he wants us dead. Lin Jiqing sighed. Yet I honestly thought he was going to kill me. Let's hide here for a bit. Don't tell him we're slacking off. Yvette thought, so that's what's going on, and stretched out both hands, clearly asking for payment. Xenia didn't humor her at all and flicked her forehead with a punch. Oh, so now you want a bribe. This is all because of you anyway, if you hadn't switched. Before she could finish, Lin Jiqing clamped a hand over her mouth. Don't say it. Hey, why are you stopping me? Let me say it. Why am I stopping you? Everyone already knows what's been going on with the boss lately. But he hasn't said anything himself. If he finds out we're gossiping behind his back. Suddenly, a creak sounded behind them. The two looked up. Oh no, when did the boss get here? Victor clenched his fists, his voice cold. What kind of rumors are you spreading about me? As Victor slowly approached, Lin Ziqing and Xenia nearly froze in terror. They instinctively tried to run, but it was already too late. Victor grabbed one with each hand and dragged them away. Slacking off here, huh? I hope you're prepared. Move. 2 extra hours of training. Each. Suddenly, smack. Yvette brought a book down squarely on Victor's head. Victor looked helpless. What's going on now? Is this because I scolded her, sweetheart? He hadn't expected that light hit to actually break the skin. Yvette frowned. Why are you hurt? And why didn't you treat it right away? She grabbed his wrist firmly. Come on. You're coming with me. Yvette made him sit against a tree and raised her hand, casting a healing spell. Golden healing energy slowly flowed into Victor's head. You need to be more careful. Managing your own body is important too, right? She leaned in closer and asked softly, did you argue with someone? You haven't seemed very happy lately. No, that's not it. Well, let's not talk about me. Yvette, did you need something from me? Yes, did I came to see you? Images from earlier flashed through Victor's mind. Figures, she really did come for him. Yvette suddenly opened the book. Captain, take a look at this. Victor focused his gaze. What is it? Face changing. It's a secret art from the eastern continent that in just a few seconds, the user can alter their facial appearance. Depending on the color, the user can switch freely between the appearance of an elderly person, an upright-looking one, an ugly face, or a beautiful one. It's most commonly seen among mysterious traveling theater troupes, and even chain hot pot restaurants, making it wildly popular. Victor looked shocked. So, is this why you were so concerned about me? Yet it's Eastern magic. I really want to see it. Lin Ziqing grabbed Victor by the collar. You should have said that earlier. And face changing is not what you think it is. Xenia burst out laughing. This is great. Absolutely great. The cabbage wasn't taken by the pig after all. Looks like the boss can finally relax, huh? Victor lowered his head awkwardly. Lin Ziqing and Xenia both stepped in to tease him. Boss, you don't have to be this embarrassed. Victor snapped. You two, extra training 2 more hours. Boss, why? After they were sent off to train, Victor walked over to Yvette and said, if one day you end up liking someone, remember to bring them back and let me take a look. If they're trash, I'll take care of it in advance. I promised I'd protect you no matter what. So what's wrong? Why aren't you saying anything? Yvette raised an eyebrow. I don't know. I just don't feel very happy. I'm not talking to you today. Early the next morning, while Yvette was still half asleep, Frances suddenly shook her awake. Something's wrong. Look outside. It's snowing. Yvette jumped up and ran to the window. Oh, it really is snowing. The snow looks beautiful. Frances sighed. This is bad. Just like the boss predicted, the winter came really early this year. Victor nodded. Even earlier than expected. Our supply stockpile is only halfway prepared. Xenia said it might warm up again later, but just to be safe, we should harvest the vegetables first. Victor agreed. All right. 5 people per group. Let's finish winter prep before sunset. Hey, stop fooling around. Did you hear me? We're not here to play. And you, Yvette, you're dressed way too lightly. If you catch a cold in this weather, what then? Victor quickly draped a blanket over her shoulders. Arthur watched their backs and muttered, man, the boss really is starting to look like Yvette's dad. Victor turned to everyone. Good. If you're all ready, let's get to work. Yvette pulled a purple vegetable from the soil. Is this a night eggplant? Frances looked surprised. Oh, you actually know what it's called? The Duke's household uses it in cooking all the time, Yvette replied. David added, it's very nutritious. Supposedly helps you grow taller. Frances thought for a moment. David? Oh, that loud, overexcited steward. Since you recognize it, want to try one? If we ship these to the capital by carriage, it'll take at least a week. But freshly picked is completely different. Go on. Try it. Yvette carefully took a bite. Wow, it's sweet. This is really good. Everyone began preparing food for the winter. Frances said to Yvette, for people like us who grew up in the countryside, the land is like a mother. When the wind comes, you reinforce it. When it's dry, you water it. You keep that up for months and only then do you get a real harvest. So of course you eat it when it tastes best. Honestly, if you've never eaten vegetables straight from the field, your life's missing something. Hey, country life has its perks too, right? Before long, the two of them had filled 2 full baskets. Right, this should be enough. Frances complained, after working, my body's warm, but my hands are still freezing. At that moment, "Hey Francis, over here," Xenia whispered. "What are you doing?" "Shoo, don't let the boss hear that I set up a pot on the side. Steal a few vegetables and let's make some soup." Francis looked shocked. "What are you talking about? What if the captain finds out?" "Relax, that if you don't say anything and I don't say anything, who'll know? Just imagine it, drinking a bowl of hot soup in weather like this." Before Francis could even answer, Yvette raised the pumpkin she'd just stolen and tossed it straight to Xenia. Moments later, a pot of steaming soup was ready. Yvette blinked her bright eyes. "Wow, it looks delicious." The three of them raised their hands together. "Oh yeah, let's eat." "Huh. You all seem pretty happy." The voice came from behind. It was Victor and Arthur. Xenia froze. "Wait, how did we get caught?" Arthur laughed. "Seriously, the steam was drifting everywhere." "Haha, reporting in, Captain. The food thieves have been caught. So what do we do with the confiscated goods?" Victor sighed softly. "What else? We can't waste food. So we eat it." "Yes." Everyone cheered. 5 people, 1 bowl each. Victor sat down next to Yvette. He took a small sip of the soup. In the bitter cold of winter, it really did bring some warmth. Unfortunately, they were still discovered by Marin on the way back, and everyone got scolded for having a pre-meal snack. The next day, everyone worked together and went hunting. They were trying to corner a wild deer with Lin Jiqing and Zack closing in from both sides. Unexpectedly, the deer still broke through the encirclement. "Hey Yvette, it's heading your way." Yvette immediately drew her bow. Whoosh, point one clean shot. The deer dropped on the spot. "Nice shot, great work." Zack looked a bit frustrated. I was hoping I'd land the finishing blow." "Does it really matter?" Zack pouted. "It does. That was probably her first kill. Look at her, she seems pretty upset. What if this leaves a scar? What if she never eats meat again?" Yvette clasped her hands together and slowly knelt beside the deer as if praying. The 2 tough guys actually started to worry. Then Yvette pulled out a book and quietly began reading from it. "All right, dissection starts between the ribs." Zack let out a long sigh. "Guess I was worried for nothing." After breaking down the deer, they hurried back to camp. "Captain, it's seriously freezing out there." Victor said, "You're back." Yvette stared at the large vat. "What's that?" "Lady Me's liquor," Victor replied. "It's getting colder. About time to open a jar and warm everyone up." Zack's eyes lit up. "Boss, I swear my life to you." Victor shot him a look. "Cut it out. Grab a bowl and get lost." Yvette leaned in, wanting to scoop some for a taste. Victor stopped her. "You can't drink this. It's not for kids like you." 5 years. "No, 10 years from now," he said, then drank it himself. No one expected Yvette to suddenly snatch the bowl and drink it. Victor froze. "What are you doing?" "Spit it out." Too late, she'd already downed 2 big gulps. The moment it hit her stomach, her face flushed bright red. "Ugh, that's awful." Victor sighed. "That's why I told you not to drink it." He quickly took the bowl back. "I said 5 years. No 10. Before he finished speaking, Yvette swayed and collapsed into his arms, softly mumbling his name. Somehow that single moment made the feared captain blush. Just then Rosanna pushed the door open. "Captain, Arthur and the others are back." "Huh? What's going on here?" Yvette was wobbling, barely able to stand. Victor was still holding a bowl of liquor, and Rosanna looked suspicious. Suddenly, Yvette dashed over and dove straight into Rosanna's arms. Rosanna had no idea what was going on. She turned around and ran out. Outside the room, Francis happened to pass by. "Hey, is dinner ready?" Rosanna stammered. "She's possessed. And the captain too." Francis blinked. "Whoa, slow down. Tell me properly." The captain's been mentally frozen since just now. But Cassandra had already checked. There was no danger to her life. More importantly, look at Yvette. What about Yvette now? At that moment, Yvette was rambling nonstop at Marlin. "Honestly, I really hate celery. Every time I have to dodge Victor's line of sight just to secretly feed it to Darwin. It's way too hard. Some old guy in town even told me to dip it in mayonnaise. Seriously, celery with mayo. Who even comes up with that?" But turning him down was a pain, so I ended up eating it anyway. That taste was just... The 2 of them were completely stunned, but Yvette kept going. "Last month the sesame snacks were really good. We were supposed to make 80, but I secretly ate 5. Then I mixed the ingredients again and made 80 more. Each one was just a tiny bit smaller, but Arthur still noticed. Oh, Cassandra, you're only taking half a bowl again? You've been dieting for a whole month, but if you're still hungry and eating snacks at night, won't you just gain weight even faster? So really, why do people even diet? If you can't eat what you want or do what you like, then even if you live a long life, you probably won't be happy, right? And if you're unhappy, you might even live shorter. Doesn't that just mean going in circles?" After saying that, Yvette let out a huge drunken hiccup. Everyone thought at the same time, this is bad. Something is definitely wrong. Yvette kept rambling on, while Cassandra wore a completely dead inside expression and could only force an awkward smile. Rosanna said in shock, is this really Yvette? Lin Zhiqing muttered quietly, maybe I should go find a Taoist to exorcise her. Marlin quickly stopped him. Hold on. Let me test something first. Who was it that burned a hole through the pot and hid it in Darwin's nest? I clearly remember wanting to make soup, so where did the pot go? If I catch them, I'll skin them alive. Yvette clearly heard everything, yet pretended not to, calmly continuing to drink. Marlin and Francis exchanged a look. They both knew it was her. As soon as she finished speaking, the two girls stepped forward together, each grabbing one side of Yvette's cheeks. Ow, 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 that hurts. At that moment, Victor finally appeared. No need to make a fuss. She just drank a bit of rice wine, she's slightly drunk. Boss, you're conscious again? Victor said, even so, this is my first time dealing with something like this. To keep her from doing anything reckless. Someone should stay with her. So I'll. Before he could finish, everyone scattered at once. Hey, why are you all so eager to avoid the boss? Because we don't want to create any more victims. Victor muttered. Victims? When he turned around, Yvette was clinging to Cassandra. Hey, get up already, I'm not done talking yet. The group quickly came up with a plan and pushed Yvette forward together. Boss, anyway, she's yours now. Yvette slowly lifted her head. With you, Victor. Hug, hug, I'll hold on tight. Then we slide down the hillside like flying. Your heart goes thump, 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 thump. Victor smiled helplessly. It was about what happened before. Yvette spread her arms wide. Come on. Alright, I get it, just don't jump at me. But Yvette couldn't control herself at all. She darted straight into Victor's arms. Off we go. Victor let out a soft sigh. In her current state, reasoning with her is pointless. I'll take her back to the dorm. A good sleep should help. And about what happened today, don't mention it in front of her tomorrow. Everyone chuckled. Got it. We understand. After a moment, he finally dragged her onto the bed. Don't move. Just lie still, Yvette shouted. The armor's too hard. It's uncomfortable. Wait, don't take your clothes off right now. Yvette pulled the blanket over herself and started squirming around. Suddenly, she kicked the blanket away. Lala transformation. Unbelievably, she had changed into pajamas inside the blanket. Victor shook his head helplessly. I told you, you're not allowed to drink. You're still too young. That stuff isn't good for you. Yvette suddenly leaned closer. But Cassandra isn't that much older than me, right? Then she hugged a pillow and leaned against the bed. I like alcohol. When I'm dizzy like this, all my worries just float away. What, you actually have worries? Of course I do. They put carrots in the creamy baked dish. Darwin refuses to bathe properly. I can't fall asleep at night, can't wake up in the morning, and the fertilizer for farming smells awful. And this and that. Victor curled his lips slightly, letting out a soft chuckle. Heh. Guess you've finally said everything on your mind. As she kept talking, Yvette suddenly paused. Then she said softly with emotion, and I don't know how my mother is doing now. She may look like that, but her daily life has always been taken care of by servants. If she fails and gets driven out of the Duke's estate, where could she go in weather like this? Would she be cold? Would she go hungry? Is winter in the imperial capital hard to endure? Lately, when I'm alone, I can't help thinking about these things. Victor looked somewhat surprised. It seems you've already learned to place yourself in the role of a guardian. One day you'll return to that familiar place. With your own hands, you'll reclaim the things you couldn't hold on to in the past. For now, the only thing you need to do is trust her. Gradually, Yvette finally fell asleep. Victor gently covered her with the blanket. Don't worry. Winter will pass soon. Get some good rest. When that time comes, I'll be by your side. After making sure once more that Yvette was fine, Victor left quietly, careful not to make a sound. He knew the girl was homesick. As soon as the door closed, Yvette curled up beneath the blanket. Then she slowly opened her eyes, tears spilling out like a tide. No one could truly understand her situation or her state of mind. Though it was safe here and she had many friends, the one thing she couldn't stop worrying about was her mother. Some days later, Cassandra lounged lazily by the window. While the snow's starting to melt, Xenia was chomping down on a roasted sweet potato. Oh, is it? Still feels cold to me. Cassandra spun around and shouted, Hey, you lot over there, aren't you being way too lazy? You call yourselves members of the Lion Squad? All you do is eat. Move it. Then she pointed at Yvette. And that one over there, aren't you dressed way too warmly? Yeah, I'm so hot. If you're hot, then take it off. Stop thinking about your roasted sweet potato. Lin Zhiqing said while eating, forced to bundle up like crazy in the morning, forced to strip down in the afternoon. Life isn't easy for Yvette, that there's a kind of cold called your dad thinks you're cold. Xenia said, but it's freezing, the snow's so thick and we can't even go outside. Besides eating and sleeping, what else is there to do? Cassandra looked out the window. The snow's already starting to melt in about half a month, spring should be here. It'll be time to prepare for planting, buy new seeds, negotiate next year's supplies with shop owners, and rearrange patrol points. That's a lot to handle. Point one day won't be enough. Everyone turned to look at her. Oh, so that's your plan. You just want an excuse to head into town again, right? Cassandra clenched her fist. Shut up, you're so loud. Anyway, I'll probably stay in town for a couple of nights. Just tell the eldest sister not to prepare dinner for me. With that, she opened the door and left. Yvette looked at Lin Zhiqing, puzzled. Huh? Is staying in town a problem? Oh right. This is your first New Year with us, isn't it, Yvette? Winter's almost over and every year around this time the town holds a festival. Xenia added, honestly, those people in town celebrate something all year round. But the end of year one is a little different. Besides the usual stalls and gatherings, they set off fireworks every year to celebrate the arrival of the new year. And there's a saying that if you confess under fireworks, it's guaranteed to succeed. Lin Zhiqing chuckled. She pulls this every year that if it were official business, the captain would never refuse. But every year nothing happens and she just comes back. You don't even need to think about it. She hesitates forever, prepares all night, and in the end can't say a single word. Xenia said that so. Do you think this year she'll succeed? Yvette stayed silent, looking thoughtful, clearly lost in her own thoughts. After a while, Yvette went into the kitchen and started preparing ingredients. Victor actually came over to guide her. Be careful with the knife. Curl your fingers in. Slow down, don't cut yourself. Famous last words. The moment he finished speaking, snap. The knife sliced Yvette's finger and blood started pouring out. Victor hurriedly wrapped it up for her. Starting with the knife might be a bit too intense, but let's begin with seasoning. Ingredients that take longer to cook should go in first. Yvette actually listened. But that's way too much oil, isn't it? Hey, you don't need that much. Careful, don't break the bowl. Turn the heat down. Finally, after Yvette's full-on kitchen chaos, the dish was technically finished. But that color. Honestly, who would dare eat this? Victor glanced at her, thinking it was strange. She seemed a bit distracted today. Yvette speared a piece and put it into her mouth. After just one bite, her face turned green. It's good. Victor was utterly speechless. You don't have to force yourself. I'll take over. If there's too much salt, you can add some potatoes to absorb it. Or balance it out with a bit of sugar. Try it again. Then he fed her a bite. Well, mine's better, right? One look at Yvette's expression said everything. Just then, Cassandra pushed the door open. Captain, it's about time we start preparing for early spring. There's more work this year, so I'm planning to stay in town for 2 days and 1 night. If that's fine, could you come confirm the schedule with me? Victor nodded. Yeah, a round trip in 1 day would be too rushed. All right, give me a moment. He took 1 step forward, then suddenly stopped. Yvette was tugging at his clothes. He looked a little shy. Cassandra glanced at her. Yvette? What's wrong? Yvette stood there, fidgeting. Her head lowered. Then she said hesitantly, could you take me with you? 2 days later, the main force of the Lion Squad set off. Several large wagons rolled toward the town in a grand procession. Cassandra was utterly miserable, sitting silently inside the wagon. They had been on the road for a while now, and she still hadn't said a word. She clenched her clothes tightly, seething inside. How could this happen? It all started 2 days ago when Victor agreed to let Cassandra stay overnight in town, and Yvette eagerly asked to come along as well. Cassandra never expected Victor to agree almost instantly. Just as she thought, Yvette really was more important to him. Before she could sink further into her gloom, everyone rushed over. Boss, I want to go too. Count me in. Victor nodded. All right. Cassandra completely panicked. Wait, Captain, what do you mean by that? Victor added, I forgot to mention it, but with the fireworks this year, there'll be a lot of tourists coming from other places. The Lion Squad has been hired to help maintain public order, so bringing more people makes sense. They're paying well and they'll cover food and lodging. That saves us some expenses. You handle the roster and prep the supplies. Cassandra looked utterly dead inside. Unbelievable, how did it turn into this? Even so, did it really have to be this many people? My carefully planned romantic memories, completely ruined by these idiots. Yvette and Lin Zhiqing ran up to Cassandra with eager faces. Cassandra, wanna play old maid? Cassandra instantly snapped. Play my ass. Are you in elementary school? Is this your first field trip or something? The sudden outburst made Yvette flinch. The smile on her face froze, like a child who'd just done something wrong. She muttered weakly, It really is my first time. Cassandra scoffed at what's there to be excited about. We're not out here to have fun. Then she suddenly realized something and yelled, Hey, you're cheating. Victor quietly watched the lively scene inside the wagon, a faint smile resting on his lips, his eyes full of quiet relief. He couldn't help saying they look happy. Bringing everyone along really was the right call. Arthur swept his gaze across the crowd. Arthur added, That said, look around, there really are a lot of unfamiliar faces from out of town. Most are here for the festival, but I've heard there've also been more merchants coming from the capital lately. Victor tilted his head slightly, his gaze steady. Enjoy yourselves, but don't forget why we're here, that we can't afford to let our guard down. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried unquestionable authority. Arthur nodded quickly. Yes, sir. The scene shifted. Warm light filled a corner of a restaurant, illuminating Cassandra and Yvette sitting across from each other. Cassandra frowned slightly, curiosity flickering in her eyes as she broke the silence. Why did you come with me to handle procurement? Normally, this isn't something you need to be involved in. Yvette held her cup with both hands, her face glowing with anticipation, eyes sparkling. Coming back here just feels more fun. Cassandra frowned slightly, lost in thought. Was it just my imagination? Back then, she really looked uneasy, almost like she was worried about the captain being with me. Suddenly, something clicked. She tested the idea aloud. Don't tell me you want to see the fireworks? Yvette's eyes lit up instantly, stars practically sparkling in them. She nodded hard. Yeah. Then, as if pulled into a memory, her expression softened. Her voice was gentle, with a faint tremor beneath it. When I was little, I was kidnapped once. That day was just like today. There was a festival and fireworks. Mom warned me again and again not to go, but I begged a maid and snuck out anyway. After that incident, she was left with a deep psychological scar. As she spoke, Yvette unconsciously tightened her grip on the cup, then forced a cheerful smile. The years after that weren't as unbearable as people might think. My only regret is, in the end, I never actually got to see the fireworks. Cassandra listened in silence. The doubt in her eyes slowly turned into tenderness, and tears slipped down before she realized it. Yvette noticed and asked softly, What's wrong? Overwhelmed with guilt, Cassandra covered her face so Yvette wouldn't see. It's nothing. She quickly lightened her tone and smiled. I get it now. Don't worry. I'll make sure your wish comes true this time. Just make sure you still take your daytime work seriously, okay? Yvette nodded. The two of them walked side by side into the bustling street. A vendor called out enthusiastically, Miss, buying supplies for spring planting? Take a look. These are premium seeds. Normally they'd go for at least 8 gold coins. But since you two are so cute, I'll sell them for 5 today. How about it? Sensing something off, Cassandra raised a hand immediately. Hold on. They do look good on the surface, and 5 coins sounds like a steal. But have you checked what's underneath? Yvette looked at Cassandra in confusion. Hearing that, the vendor flew into a rage. Hey, if you're not buying, don't cause trouble. Cassandra stepped forward and began checking the goods herself, signaling Yvette to stop him. She opened the sack and inspected it closely. It didn't take long to see the truth. Only the top third was usable. Most of the bottom had gone damp and moldy, and even the good portion was already contaminated. Cassandra turned to the vendor, her expression stern. You're not from around here, are you? You came all this way just to scam one batch of money and run, didn't you? You can leave, but the goods stay. The vendor snapped, shouting angrily, On what grounds? I didn't even manage to cheat you. Are you trying to rob me? Cassandra met his fury head-on, her voice cold and steady. You didn't succeed this time. But what about before? If previous victims come back, these goods will be used as compensation. Without real punishment, crime has no cost. The vendor's face turned pale, then flushed red. Sweat beaded on his forehead, his teeth ground together, but he couldn't find a single word to argue back. Damn it. In the end, he fled in disgrace. Yvette looked at Cassandra with eyes full of admiration. Cassandra, you were amazing just now. Cassandra lifted her chin slightly, smiling with proud confidence. Of course I was. Idiot. Don't underestimate me. I've managed the Lion Squad's account since I was a kid. Never a single loss in over 10 years. You really think tricks like that could fool me? My original goal was to start my own merchant guild. If it weren't for staying with the Lion Squad, I'd already be fighting offers from major trade houses. Yvette asked curiously, Then why didn't you go? That was your dream, wasn't it? Cassandra let out a soft sigh. A gentle yet resolute look crossed her eyes. She replied quietly, What else could it be for? I chose long ago to give up that dream. For someone. The scene shifts. Cassandra said to Yvette, Yvette, help me clear the dishes. Yvette answered briskly, okay. She carried a large stack of bowls and plates in both hands, walking carefully. Someone nearby asked worriedly, are you okay? At that moment, Yvette tripped on a step. Her body lurched forward, the dishes on the tray about to spill. Yvette shut her eyes in fear, certain it was all over. In the blink of an eye, a pair of strong hands reached out. One arm wrapped firmly around her waist. The other hand caught and steadied the tray. It was Victor. Yvette fell straight into his arms. Victor spoke gently, if it's too much, take it in 2 trips. Before he finished speaking, Yvette looked up, and their eyes met. Victor's face flushed instantly. Embarrassed, he couldn't bring himself to meet her gaze. He quickly turned away, walking off while muttering, be careful next time. In another corner of the dining hall, Fried and Lin Jiqing stood shoulder to shoulder, whispering. Lin Jiqing said mysteriously, don't you think something feels off between those two? I'm getting goosebumps. If it really works out, wouldn't that make the captain practically royalty? As if things were that easy. Cassandra finally snapped when she heard that. She slammed the tray down on the table. Bang. Staring coldly at the two of them, Cassandra said, while you're eating, keep that kind of talk to yourselves. Fried and Lin Jiqing trembled and answered in unison, yes. Yes. Cassandra hurried forward and stopped Victor, who was about to leave. Her cheeks slightly flushed, her voice soft with embarrassment, she said, Captain, could I speak with you for a moment? The two of them moved to a quiet corner with no one around. Cassandra cursed herself silently. What's wrong with me today? This hesitation isn't like me at all. Ever since Yvette tried to keep the captain from leaving, Cassandra had felt uneasy, as if delaying any longer would mean it was already too late. Seeing Cassandra lower her head without saying a word, Victor asked in confusion, what is it? Cassandra took a deep breath and finally gathered her courage. Captain, if I told you that I want to be with you, not as a friend, a comrade or family, but as a lover, would you accept that? Victor's eyes flickered with surprise. Almost without any hesitation, he said, I'm sorry, Cassandra. She hadn't expected such a direct rejection. It felt as if all her strength drained away. Her voice trembled as she asked, is it because of Yvette? Victor fell silent for a moment, then spoke with difficulty. I don't know. For a long time I've seen myself only as her guardian. I cared about everything she did and told myself it was nothing more than responsibility. He paused, his fist tightening unconsciously. But just now I realized, I can't bring myself to say that it isn't. After her confession was rejected, Cassandra turned away. Her fingers clenched the edge of her skirt, bitterness flooding her chest. I should have known. Her expression changed in an instant. She slapped Victor hard on the shoulder and forced herself to sound calm. Then I hope you figure out your own heart someday. Victor staggered slightly, completely caught off guard. Cassandra looked composed on the surface, but inside she was already falling apart. Images of Victor standing beside Yvette flashed through her mind. I should have realized it sooner. The excessive concern, the jealousy when he was close to someone else, the constant fear of losing him, they were all the earliest signs of falling in love. Unable to hold it in any longer, Cassandra turned and ran out. She wiped at the tears spilling from her eyes over and over again, muttering under her breath, damn it, don't cry. This is humiliating. I've never seen him look like that before. She was completely lost in her sorrow. Shame and regret crashed over her. The failure of her confession felt unbearable. She never noticed the danger creeping closer. Trying to comfort herself, she thought, if only she weren't here. Suddenly, a pair of hands reached out without warning. One hand covered her mouth as she was dragged away. At the same time, Yvette's anxious voice rang out from afar. Cassandra, are you there? There was no answer, only silence. Panic spread across Yvette's face as she rushed to alert the others. Cassandra, she's gone.